This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
The rules of etiquette in Bel-Air. Never talk openly about wealth.
Yo, this place is huge, man. Next time I go to my room, we'll take some breadcrumbs.
Make polite conversation at parties.
I used to fence at Bel-Air. Really? How much you think we could get for that stereo?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, premiering Monday, September 10th on NBC.
Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Kim Fields, and Erica Alexander.
Did you ever stop to think about what the world would be like without men?
A bunch of fat, happy women and no crowns.
My Girls, a new comedy coming soon to Fox.
Come on, welcome all once again. We got Ryan and Chris, both from the Podcast Fresh Network. So first of all, thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us, Cameron. It's really a nice opportunity for us to talk a little Fresh Prince and single life with you.
This was a cool idea. You know, I've been meaning to do more sitcoms for a while, and you guys were like, we're in a sitcom mode. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, what can we double bill this with? And so you guys have been on for a while. You really have figured out Instagram videos and stories way better than any of us, I think. You're really just, it's interesting how there's so many apps now where you can just add video text, something, and
it's unbelievable. What I always tell Ryan is that, until there are these imaginary funds that can pay for like AI or somebody to run all your social medias, it's sort of it just do it all on your own kind of thing, right? And so it's kind of just up to us, and it's been a lot of just learning, a lot of trying things and failing things along the years. Like we've been doing this for about Ryan, what is it, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years.
It's just like a TV show. There's plenty of stuff where it's like, we're not quite there yet, so let's repackage this episode and mix it in with some new content. Let's redo that episode. I hate that episode. You know,
we're right there, right, Ryan? Like we were just talking about, we already have so much material, and some of it can be recycled still, because if you apply to something that's going on right now adjacent to what we said before, it makes for an interesting almost retrospect to what you said
Meta.
before. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one bunch of we've been doing more themed movie packs, like here's 5 movies scripted by this famous screenwriter or director, actor. And there were some where I'm like, I need to repackage that, because other people are going to be like, oh, that celebrity's got a scandal. Or it's like, look, I just want to focus on the movie. I don't want to.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you say that, Ryan, because you can touch on this, Pac, but we originally started as a Fresh Prince podcast, and then we were several episodes in, and we started kind of doing the cafe show where we talked about sort of everything. We thought that was a little bit more liberating, so we kind of did pigeonhole ourselves at the beginning there with but just
it's easy to do, dude. There's several times where people are like, we want to talk about just this. I'm like, that's fine, but I don't want to be in one corner,
Right, exactly.
Can we do that once a month and talk about that thing, or can we split this up? And
I think our biggest problem too is like our show, we our Fresh Prince of Bel-Air review shows used to go on for like 2-3 hours, man. It was like, and most of it was just because we were talking about other stuff, right? So that's when it kind of came about. Like, we should probably do another show where we don't talk Fresh Prince and talk about all this other stuff. But
there's some bloopers that are good, and there's other times where it's like, okay, guys, until we get another editor besides me, I'm not going through all this. It's funny, but it's all bloopers. And
yeah, you definitely go through that war in your mind. Like, this is funny to me, but am I just selfishly laughing at my own joke, or is this funny in general? So that's when you sort of ask somebody neutral to like, hey, tell me something. Is this funny or not? No, it's funny, but there's no real depth to it. Okay, then it's not worth even posting.
Or is it funny because it's not? Is this a Conan type thing where he's like, that didn't work, and he looks to the camera, what are we doing here? It's like, okay, that's fine, but that's visual. That's not,
right.
On a podcast, we're limited by our words.
100%.
Love when we awkwardly look at each other like, okay, right? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, we've reached an awkward pause, So, I mean, that's the one advantage that podcasting does have over live radio broadcasting is that if you do make a mistake or you're short a word or something like that, you can always sort of fix it in post. So there is a little bit of that pressure sort of removed.
There's a lot of pressure. Hell, there's pressure in both these shows. That's why they're both pretty popular sitcoms. They got a lot of stakes raised, even though it's 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you say that's kind of how most of us on average will tap out of a show? Most people will just go, oh, so-and-so who I liked and it's the only reason I watched left. And it's like, I just tap out when there's just no way to raise the bar. There's no way to blow the lid off the roof,
That's true for me. And I don't know if you've ever seen Community, but like,
yes.
Once Donald Glover leaves, I have a hard time finishing it. Like
no, it's fine. I start with the beginning and end of season 4, and I go right on to 5 and 6. But it's a whole different show. I see other people do the whole. It's not the same without Chevy Chase. I'm like, well, in all fairness, they weren't getting along.
There's that too.
There's going to be some mild Community references here. Do any of you watch Abbott Elementary?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so there's a Fresh Prince connection to that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, and I geeked the F out. I was just like, whoa, this just got even more awesome. And
really?
So Tatiana Ali is on there.
Oh, no kidding.
She looks great for her age, and it's awesome. She's just so basically there's a Denny Crane, Michael Scott equivalent principal of the place, and it's so funny. Ali's character is just on there, and she at first you think she's going to report her, and then she turns to the camera and then to her Ava, and she's like, "I want in on the hustle." It's just like
it's so great that she's back doing stuff. I know she had stepped away a little bit to like start a family and things like that, but that's great for her. That's great for her.
I've always been a fan. I would see her pop up in the last thing I saw her in was this little scene drama called Mother and Child that had Naomi Watts and Sam Jackson. That was a cool take on biracial marriage and everything. And raising a family. But yeah, whenever I think what's very enlightening about both these sitcoms is almost kind of like Friends or Seinfeld. Even though many of them had like one of their leads all took off for the movies and continued their music career. Yeah. The rest have still been instantly recognizable. Like, so starting with the Fresh Prince, like I got into it at the right age. I knew about some of Smith's other movies, but I was pretty much this back to back with Men in Black, and then wanting to see some of his other dramatic turns was just the icing on the cake. I could totally understand why, he had the whole sitcom spiel down, and I was just like, okay, but it's just a fun premise. And both these shows are kind of about an outcast joins, other, singles about friends, but like Fresh is so funny how it's just one unusual family, just driving each other crazy. And that there was a lot of subtext on everything from camping trips to, middle class meets, rich, and and it's just so funny how like my sister and I will just be randomly bringing it up, and I kid you not, like it will come up in conversation, whether it's about other stuff Quincy Jones produced, it's about.
It's just amazing. Even just the I think what makes the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air a little bit interesting and sort of stand out is that from a trivia standpoint, it's just had such a plethora of like celebrities come through And sometimes a lot of the storylines that happened behind the scenes was sometimes more interesting than what was going on screen. And then, later on you find out all
Yes.
the different things that went on with the
There
show.
is a
Like,
Roseanne moment where there is some
yeah,
controversial recasting, and you're like, okay, is that all we're going to talk about though?
right. And then they break down the fourth wall and they're like, yeah, we literally, we're letting you know at home that's a different actress. Wink, wink.
So how many of you felt like the world was going into a shit show the minute James Avery passed away?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I was
God,
just like, no, this is so funny. Most people, cartoon guys are going to go voice of Shredder. Other people are going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen him on other stuff like The Closer and what have you. And I'm like, Uncle Phil, no.
I saw a meme and it was something to what you just said right there. It's like the world kind of went to hell when Uncle Phil passed away. But and he passed away, like, was it right on New Year's Eve, I think?
Yes, December 2013. Like,
I always found that just
yeah, 2013.
horrible timing, you know what I mean? But
I was
those New
finishing up
Year's
college, and I was just like, okay, well, why? I get that
yeah,
everybody leaves, but like, why?
right.
Why? 68, that's too young. And yeah, it was just one of those, it's like, uh, he did have a pretty cool career, I think. He's interesting in that he was a veteran actor. He became better known, during that time frame, and then just still kept working. I'd still see him show up as like an FBI agent or an authority figure. I'm like, hey, it's Uncle
Yeah,
Phil.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny how can you think of other character actors where people call them like by their character name, but they
Right.
know in their heart they're actually a legit like they love him as a person, they love him as an actor. Like it exists, but it's also hard to do because
Yeah.
sometimes they seem limited to just that role. Like, for instance, Jerry and Kramer are always going to be Jerry and Kramer on Seinfeld, like,
Yeah.
and that's okay because they kind of intended that. One of them messed with stand up and went to hell, and the other was like, I just want to keep doing stand up, but I don't really want to act. And
Right. Yeah, probably. I mean, you can argue which one was the smarter of the two methods, but I mean, Jerry Seinfeld's done so well for himself, and now he just lives off of the residuals, and
yeah,
he still tours, but like he doesn't even have to do anything. So
no, not at all.
it's pretty wacky. One of the things about the show is that in different variances, some of the characters did get typecast. Like, for example, the Alfonso Ribeiro's character of Carlton, he was sort of typecast, and then he spoke about this during several interviews afterward. And it's
Yes.
one of those things where some of them got typecast and some of them didn't. Some of them ended up moving on. Like Will Smith, I realized he had already been a rapper and he had been doing some stuff, but this was his first real serious acting gig. And by watching it, you would never guess that there were so many
Never.
issues with the cast and him during season 1 and 2, because he was just learning sort of on the job and he was driving some people crazy.
That's just it. And I think that's when we've had all these scandals is like, we have to hold all kinds of people accountable, but we also have to realize is like, remember guys, before the internet, we didn't hear half the horror stories that were happening, behind the scenes. We didn't know about producers being assholes on Star Trek. We didn't know about certain people on gangster shows being too method. We didn't know about some of these, risque moments going too far. We didn't know any of that. And same deal there. Yeah, and this is not to say that this was all easily avoidable. Like it just happens all the time. Like actors will respect you, but if you just don't know any lines and you're holding up filming, they will put their foot down and say, okay, listen, man, let's go into the corner and do this because this is the last time this is happening. It is beyond reasonable to just be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm ready and you're not, and I'm not going to keep doing it this way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you do
But
find out as you get older that so much stuff happens behind the scenes. There's a lot of, turbulence and things like that. And sometimes they're such professionals that you don't hear about it till like years later, right?
yeah,
Unlike today, where everybody just kind of wants to hop on a podcast and do a tell all to everybody, right? Because it is sort of the thing to do right now, right? All this people just want more. Like they're streaming everything, they're consuming everything, but now they want to watch every single documentary and read the Wikipedias till their eyes turn red. Like there's just so much they want to know everything, right?
Oh man, and Alfonso Ribeiro, his whole Carlton, like it's so funny how that shows, 20 plus years old and kind of like so many other characters who dance, people want to imitate his dance style, which is so wild because Will Smith did a bunch of dances, but like everyone
Right.
remembers the way Carlton dances.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think
yeah. Go ahead,
I
Ryan.
think
Sorry.
sorry,
No,
I
no, you're
saw
good.
something not too long ago. It was like a Fresh Prince thread, and there was like this argument on Reddit, and basically the whole thing was Carlton was the standout character of the show. And people were
Mm.
going like just arguing and whatever. And a lot of the reason was just the antics, right? The dance, the roasts, the jokes on him. Like it wasn't even because it's just because he was the subject of torture. Like whether he was doing like the dance or just being roasted by Will, he
Yeah.
is the standout character in that sense, right? Like I feel like a lot of the funny moments involve Carlton. And it was an
Yes.
interesting read. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but like I
Mhm.
always thought, because Will Smith is such a big name nowadays, he was obviously the standout character, even going into the show, because he was a rapper already. And it was just interesting to see a transition like that. But yeah, I mean, like 20 years later, however long
It
it's
was a
been,
good
like,
family show, but it
yeah,
wasn't so restricted to, just stuff with kids. And
Right.
it
yeah,
came at the right time, that bridging that gap between the 80s and 90s. There's always, you got to have a serious episode. And it's so fun. Again, a
Right.
show
Yeah.
is good if people talk about standalone stuff. So again, we're
Yeah.
going to jump all over the place and make allusions to all kinds of other sitcoms. Every
sure.
sitcom has a dud episode, but I think this one
Mhm.
is just so energetic, and the comedy timing was just often on point that you could often make up for the fact that, okay, that getting there was a little silly or cheesy, but hey, the laughs delivered. There's one where William Shatner plays himself, and you're like, what's happening right now? But
Right.
like, it's so wild how I kid you not, having been around people in the theater scene and in college improv classes, it is amazing how almost everybody knows word for word, like the episode where his estranged father reunites with him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
it,
that episode still hits with a lot on many levels, actually.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think it helps that a lot of the comedy, instead of just let's get into more shenanigans, it's almost always like mistaken, like
Right.
identity or misinterpreting something. That it hits a standstill, and everyone's like, "Oh, I did not mean it that way. I'm so sorry. I hurt your feelings."
There is a Larry Davidism to Will in that sometimes, I mean, sometimes he's up to getting into trouble. There's no doubt about it. But
Mhm.
sometimes he really is trying to do the good thing to please everybody, but he's got to sort of shortchange one thing to help the other, and he ends up getting caught, and that's sort of where the
Yeah.
lesson of the episode lies.
Mhm.
Well, and it kind of just goes back to the kid in all of us. If we have nothing productive to do, we're just gonna dick around. We're just gonna
100%. Right, right.
throw a
Yep.
party when someone's away. And um
Right.
uh I do like, there's actually a pretty cool documentary out now about actress Smith, actress Vernee Watson,
Okay.
who played Will's mom. And I thought that
Yeah.
was what was interesting, is like his dad was a trucker and she worked for the post office as the manager.
Right.
And again, it's in the theme song, is like, yeah, she sent him away because he got into fights and got frets, and
Mhm.
I'm
his dad was never there. And
right. Yeah, the whole story sort of is sort of gets summarized in the song there, but
it's catchy,
um
but you want to know
it's
more.
super catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vi adds for a side character. I mean, I forget how many appearances, Ryan, that she ended up being in. It's somewhere between like I think 7 and 15, like the whole series, right?
Yeah.
But for a side character like that, I feel like she adds such like a gravity, like a centralized, like she sort of is Will's compass, you know what I mean? And every time she comes back, it's there because either Will screwed up or Will celebrating something, or sometimes it's just Thanksgiving. But we did like Vi's appearances up until the end there, although sometimes it did feel like they had to shoehorn in a Thanksgiving episode, and it wasn't quite as meaningful as the first couple times.
Yeah, I have seen some other recent shows cover sitcoms, and when COVID hit, I think people even watched it more. They just like, hey, 6 seasons
Right.
of comedy, how bad can it be? And it is always interesting how when you binge stuff, then you'll find even more plot holes as opposed to casually
Yeah.
watching something. And
Yeah.
I think it was just fun that Jazzy Jeff was also, one of his dorky friends.
Oh yeah.
And he made up for the fact that he wasn't much of an actor by just being a wacky friend. I'm like, okay, perfect. We don't have to worry because you and Will already got charisma in real life, so you're going to
Right,
play
they've
off of
already
that.
got it.
And
Yeah.
and he didn't take it all that seriously. He's like, yeah, I'm I'm just going to be either the butt of your joke or I'm going to just play off of you in a amusing scene. And it is interesting though how Warner Brothers and I think Universal worked out all these deals to decide what channels it could be on with Quincy Jones's company. And I haven't seen any of the Bel-Air reimagining. Did any of you bother with it?
No, I just saw season 1, which was the pilot. Ryan, did you check that show out?
I keep like clips will always pop up, right? Like I saw their take on Will's father being in his life again, or whatever, and it's good, but like it's just not. It's just one of those things where it's like it didn't need to be called Fresh Prince of
No,
Bel-Air.
I get it. I
You know?
I have tried all kinds of different reimaginings. I like a few different takes on the Twilight Zone and Fugitive. I don't mind
Yeah.
Queen Latifah's new take on the Equalizer. I just am like, okay, but it's more of a NCIS type show. It's related in premise and style only, but there's nothing else related to it. But
Yeah.
it is interesting how I kind of would have been more curious to check it out just because I'm just like, I'm just giving it time. It's like I think a lot of stuff that came out that everyone's now exploding about, they're forgetting. Yeah, but it didn't happen overnight. You know, Monty Python, it was considered a joke when it first came out, and we only got it over here years later, and then it exploded in fandom. Ted Lasso was not so hot those first few years, just because we weren't watching much stuff on streaming. We were annoyed by real life.
Yeah. Twin Peaks had a random comeback during COVID. Everybody was watching Twin Peaks again, and what a great show this is! And
not a single person complained, "Oh, it's too gritty." I'm like, it was always gritty. It's just funny about We were watching Conan O'Brien's Mark Twain Prize thing not long ago, and it was just like, but why is it? Is he like one of the few comedians no one picks on? Because like every other comedian, everyone wants to get into wars about or say, "Oh, they play it too safe," or "Oh, they politically divide me," or just some stupid we got to be divided on them. And it's like, well,
yeah,
if they didn't run over anybody, why do I care? I don't.
Right. I think he's always been forgiven a lot just because he's not afraid to genuinely laugh at himself. But you're right. There are moments where it's kind of it's too glossy. You know what I mean? But nobody's. Do you listen to his podcast at all?
I love it, and I think that's just it. I think whoever
that's him
it's absolutely his soul. And I think it's interesting how I think those who might not politically agree with him just either don't get him, so they never have complained about him, and those who do get the joke, they're just like, yeah, but he he does a lot of risque stuff that still you wouldn't even find cancelable because he somehow winks enough at the audience, he's in on it. And I think that's the other thing too. The comedians who got too full of themselves, who got in all these legal fender benders, I think they kept embracing being outspoken instead of just being like, okay, let me find something witty that no one will have an answer for or something, And I think like Dave Chappelle, I think made a joke about cancel culture, and then it became a whole other mess. And like, dude, you were funny when you were witty. Don't do that, please.
Oh, I know. It's crazy how the opinion of the people changes so quickly. it's incredible. Yeah, with Chappelle, you got a little bit of backlash, and
I was
you become the one thing you sought to destroy, kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw people saying, off with Jack Black's head, he didn't defend his bandmate. I'm like, he let his bandmate speak for himself. He didn't kick him out of the band. He just said, we're canceling our tour for now. I've got 5 different gigs I got to keep doing. So let's just,
got that Minecraft movie coming out. I can't screw that up. Come on, man. Yeah. No, but you're right. And I think by canceling the rest of the tour, I think that was probably the right call there.
Yeah, I think he's just like, everyone's not ready to see us do our thing. We had one joke I didn't make, but okay, whatever. And I just find it even funnier how the pendulum will swing. And I'm like, okay, why are we still talking about this? The celebrity's dead.
Right. Yeah. I find that things linger less, like we'll forget about it in about 4 to 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm. You know, and
Yeah, well, I feel like that's because there's just constant things happening, right?
Mhm.
Like a new thing will push the old thing out of your brain. And it's like, man, people's
there's some
attention
other shit
spans are
show.
just, yeah, exactly. Like, how good are you guys like with separating the art from the artist?
It
Like,
just kind of really, really
mhm.
depends, like
Mhm.
just how vicious it is. Like
Mhm.
I can still acknowledge Kevin Spacey was in some good movies. Then there's some others where it's like, yeah, I
yeah,
don't want
Yeah.
to see anything new with James Woods. I don't want to see anything new with this actor. I wasn't on either side of the Amber Heard or Johnny Depp thing, and
Right.
everyone was like, just like favorite baseball game, favorite political side. You got to pick a team. I'm like, I, I think they've both done some bad stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think one of them's a good actor and the other's forgettable, but
Like
that doesn't have
everyone always
anything to
has to
do.
pick a side.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
like you got to pick a side. Like, no, why can't I just be neutral and
Um,
just see how this
We
plays out?
yeah, we covered the Amber Heard thing and Johnny Depp just in passing, and I remember we didn't really have a side. We're like, it's kind of a crappy situation. She would have had a better chance, but she just went so hard that she fell right over the edge, and sort of face planted. And Johnny Depp said, I'll take it from here. But and now Johnny, is it official? Is he back signed with Disney again to make the new Pirates movie? Or is that not
I don't
official
know
yet?
that he's signed, but they're definitely
Okay.
considering him again, and he's got
Yeah,
some
because that
other
ended
movies coming
badly.
out. Yeah, and isn't it so wild? He gets a second chance after showing up late, being drunk. But
Yeah,
that's the other thing
saying he'll
too.
never work with them again. All right.
I think a lot of these guys are set up for failure because they either mature too soon or they don't make time to be human. So when the cameras are turned off, they're just a nightmare, kind of like Johnny Carson, where you're just like, wow, it's so talented, but yet such a
Yeah.
nightmare getting out of dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
I I also find it funny how all these celebrities get, joked about, oh, you sold out if you host a show, but I don't see
Yeah.
anyone doing that with Rubiero.
Right.
Rubiero, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, yeah, sure, let's have Carlton host something. It's going to be funny.
Yeah. It just, yeah, they all, part of the, and it's changed so much in the 90s. If you had, a TV show where you're presenting funny videos, right? Like Alfonso Ribeiro did or Bob
Yeah.
Saget, like that was cool. It was, those were
I'm
highly
glad you brought
rated
up Bob
shows for our
Saget.
time.
That was the
Yeah.
ultimate Robin Williams thing, where it's like, depending on where you're familiar with, it's like, do you know him from his blue comedy
Right,
style,
right.
or do you know
There's
him
so
from his
many
safe
eras.
to air TV to head style? It is
Yeah.
so wild.
I love crass Bob Saget when he kind of made that comeback there in the 2010s.
Yes.
And all of a sudden he was making these crass jokes about his days on Full
People
House.
were never
and,
familiar were like, oh, really? It is interesting having to remind everyone is like, hey, just because you play one character doesn't mean you have to be solely there in that one area.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah.
I saw that Carlton did do some directing. I thought that was cool. I didn't realize he worked on a lot of Disney Channel, Nickelodeon shows, but
Oh wow.
Yeah, when we were looking at his credits, it doesn't seem that it was a lot of screen stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's too bad. I think sometimes you can grab an actor that's kind of been typecast and kind of remodel him and do something different with him. I mean, they've done it with Daniel Radcliffe and things like that, where
yes,
you see him show up in these weird things, and you're like, okay, man, I see you. You know what I mean? I see
you've
that
earned your
range.
respect. You got all the respect early on. So now whatever you do, even if it doesn't work, you're not the reason it didn't work. You did your part,
Right, exactly.
But it is wild, which some of it's selective, and other times it's like I think people just decide who they're gonna shit talk, and I'm like, well, he's done a lot of reality TV. He's done a lot of hysterical TV hosting. I've seen him on America's Funniest Home Videos and Who's Line, but
Yeah.
it is wild too. Which other ones? I think it's just if you do it bad, like, or to where it's just desperate, like. I did make fun of Shatner. There's plenty of other celebrities like that where it's like, okay, now you can say you're in on the joke, but this is still a very bad joke. And
Right.
I do dig overall. I think the show works because I think a lot of people who have had a strained relationships can relate to how the dad who can't stand Will, not his dad, his uncle. It is basically his unofficial dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He doesn't treat him like that, but they have this understanding. And I think it also helped that much like a sitcom, he's playing, Will is playing Will. So
Oh yeah,
like
he is Will Smith. He sort of is sort of that
alter
guy,
ego.
as you were to come
Yeah.
find out. Yeah,
Which I think was done on purpose, just because that was his first gig as an actor. So
Mhm.
like,
right.
the best thing you could play probably is yourself. So it made sense. But that dynamic with Phil and Will, it's like one of the best dynamics in the show. Like,
Yes.
Mhm.
because you watch it evolve so well throughout the 6 seasons, and sometimes it has its parts where it's like this doesn't make sense, but for the most part, I think they do a really good job.
And Karen Parsons, I just thought was awesome. She was just one of those
Oh
who
yeah,
uh, was just uh, she had a mixed background, but I would see her on some other comedy shows and movies like Major Payne and The Job, and I was just like, yeah, she's she's the straight gal to everybody else's just nutty.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. You sort of need that
Not
ability to
all of them are
contrast there.
misbehaving. Carlton is funny in that you don't know if he's going to have a bigger ego than Will or if he's going
Right.
to goof it up for everybody else. But sometimes that's the thing. And it's just so funny because then Will's like, well, I was going to do that. But I think it just, the show, the directors were good at just having there be a close up for what someone was saying is like, okay, that's fine. That it needs it for that situation as everyone is reacting
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
scenario.
And I think I go through we went through some episodes we reviewed where I said to Ryan, I go, wow, they wrote Carlton like a total a-hole. Like this is a really mean thing to have done to Will. And Will will do it back and I'll say, why would Will go and steal his buddy's ex-girlfriend? Like that says what a slime ball, at that point. But
yeah, they do some things to each other sometimes that it's like I don't know if in real life.
if I did that to you, bro, you'd shoot me.
Like, what the hell, man? Like I
That's a
hate.
good point because like I hated it when it was on Two and a Half Men, where it's like, okay, I love you, John Cryer, but I
Right.
can't take any more of Charlie torturing you. I just
Right.
can't. So then it's a good. We all try to avoid being contrarians, but it is so funny how like you're fine with it. I guess say on mockumentaries like The Office, where it's like, yeah, I want so and so to put all these other idiots in their place. Even though
Right.
what they're doing is wrong, it's fine because basically they're tripping them and everybody hates them. But
Yeah.
here is like, yeah, it's like they do some uncool stuff, but I guess because they lean so heavily into the absurdity of it, I never thought for a minute of it. It always ended at the right time before it got way too messy. Where I'm like, how are they gonna write themselves out of this?
There's a pile of episodes where Ryan and I call them the going to space episodes. It's it's episodes where they've smoked a proverbial joint and they've written up the story where it's usually some kind of a dream sequence and it involves
Yes.
the characters wearing different costumes, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But those ones you just have to, you almost can't even crap on them. You almost just have to enjoy them for what they are, you know what I mean, which is just like a fun Twilight Zone sort of episode.
That's kind of what they were doing, and it was it. I wouldn't call it spiritual, but it was kind of one of those. It's like, yeah, they're gonna do something just very dorky, but even if I were to call it dated, I can't think of anything where I'd be like, yeah, that some gag went too far or anything. I think they would rein it in as there's always an out of control party happening here,
Right.
and there are some other very talented people here. I do recall Vivica A. Fox even saying in interviews how she guested on this, and then it was just so wild. Then uh, she worked with both Jada and Will on two movies in the same year. Set it off in Independence Day, and she thought it was
Yeah,
just
That's
interesting
right.
working with all these people who were pleasant in one scenario, but even better when it was on a movie. It's like you got to get everything right now. So I
yeah,
kudos to anybody who started off on here and they were just like, okay, I'm I'm learning, but I'm gonna keep doing better. I do forget that Nia Long's on here.
yeah.
Uh I'm gonna
Mhm.
be as polite as I can. I will say Tyra Banks is Jackie. Mm,
Really?
I think it's a little
Thumbs down?
painful. Yeah, it's not unwatchable, but it is like, yeah, if this wasn't a comedy, this performance would not work.
Wow.
But it's not to the so distractingly bad. Like it's not like some of these other actors who like some comedians can't do drama. They try, but they can't. It's not like that level, but it was like, yeah, she was still kind of in
Yeah.
her infancy when she tried this. It was like her first gig after modeling.
I think for some of the actors, I think it depends on how much range they're given. I remember I was by like season 4 or 5, I think season 5, where Jazzy Jeff gets married.
Yeah.
They gave
Oh god.
that season, they must have given him a raise and be like, we're giving you a raise, but we're also going to need you to, we're going to give you more lines as well. Cause he was given like pretty, like larger side stories than he's had in the past.
It might be.
And I thought sometimes he swam into a little, so the deep end when it was some of the acting. And I just thought, okay, let's bring you back down to, calmer waters.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Cause like, you see all these other crime shows that have cast, rappers and comedians, and some of them pull it off, and others are just very painful. And
right. That looks like Conor McGregor, and that smells like Conor McGregor.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. There were some interesting guest stars. That there was Vanessa Williams, there was Phil Lamar, there was Don Cheadle, even Robin Quivers of all people.
Right? Yeah.
But I think that's what I dug. It was just like, it wasn't, even if they were just playing themselves, like it was kind of an earned guest spot. It wasn't like some of the infamous UPN shows that came later, but I think that's what I dug about it. I never knew
who's going to come up.
Well, but also the guest wasn't the only punchline. Like there wasn't.
No, right.
Like Tom Jones is playing himself. Oprah's playing herself various times. It's just like, it's not to the point where I'm like, okay, but who thought this was a good idea?
Well, that's so funny because I remember when we reviewed that Oprah episode, I actually wasn't too high on it. I thought, actually, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Letterman the Jay Leno episode rather. When they went on the Jay Leno show, I thought it was a cool concept to actually shoot it at the stage and everything like that. But I just thought the writing was weak. It didn't really work for anything aside from going along with the storyline that Will had been splashed in the papers as a pollutionist or something like that, right? But yeah, most of them are done pretty well. And yeah, Don Cheadle's in there too. He played one of Will's best friends coming home to see him. Yeah.
Ice Tray.
Ice Tray. Yeah.
What a name.
Yeah, right?
There should have been a rapper named Ice Tray.
Ice Tray.
But I definitely see how this is kind of the template for a black sitcom. Like Black is kind of trying to be kind of the next Cosby Show, and I thought was just amazing because it would have some Daily Show kind of humor mixed in with workplace and family coming of age humor. But
yeah,
it is interesting how like Fresh Prince, it's kind of very hard to duplicate. It's kind of more just kind of like everyone does their own version of like I Love Lucy or Alice. It's interesting how this is kind of more of okay, let's have a persona with one nutty family,
right.
There's nothing else that you need to take from there unless it's just, you can tell, like that. But most people are generally just that's where the comparison ends. It's not, there's nothing else for me to steal. And Quincy Jones, though, I mean, the reason people love him so much as a producer is he did work out all the different music contracts, and all the other guests who were on there. And I mean, there were so many scenarios in this that like I would hate to be a part of, as a kid. I didn't go to prom and all that, but it worked because I guess it was just, it perfected it better than the average bearer. There wasn't a point where I'm like, okay, but they're doing stuff that every high school thing does or anything. It's like, it was always
right.
It was like I always was waiting for how nutty it was going to end, and it was always going to end inappropriately. And by inappropriately, I don't mean in that, someone really got hurt. I just like, yeah, Carlton's probably going to crash a car and then run away or something, something like that.
That's one of the running tropes is that just when the episode is getting too serious, they'll throw Carlton in there to do something funny. And then
Ashley's going to want to be like Will. She's going to get in trouble. And then finally Will's going to admit, okay, I made her do it.
Yeah.
I made her steal the jelly beans or whatever. And whatever stupid thing he told her to do, that wasn't a good idea. And I think that's just it. Like he would always look at the camera like, what am I doing or something.
Right.
It was like, and the camera stuff wasn't overdone. It wasn't the only part of the joke, but yeah, no, but like you say, that there is, like every sitcom, some formulaic stuff where it's like, I want to do it that way or that, or perform it that way, but I get it. You know, I think I just still just love the butler because there would be all kinds of jokes on that, like, hey, you know, I don't serve you,
Yeah.
I serve your uncle.
Yeah, and then he always even and you would think, okay, he's against Will at the beginning because Will doesn't know this guy and he's gonna have to earn his keep, and it's not as easy as snap your fingers and make me a sandwich.
Yes.
And you think, okay, so he must be very loyal to the family, and then you realize he is, but he also puts it in Phil and Viv's face at all times, and he always talks about these amazing families that he used to work for, and now he's kind of stuck with these losers. You know what I mean? But he really is an unsung hero. He's got a lot of just legendary scenes, whether he's in a bathrobe with girls dancing in a hotel somewhere. You know what I mean? But he just knocks everything out of the ballpark that he does, I think,
That's
in
what
that
was
show.
interesting too. Like there would be some unhappy episodes of uh, kids fooling around, you know, with girlfriends, and it got out of hand, like on Roseanne. And this one kind of
Mhm.
is like, okay, I don't want you to go to that party. It's going to get out of hand. I guess that's why both white audiences warmed up to it because they were getting there was a lot of relatability on their end, and black audiences warmed up because like, okay, they're it's a perfect mix of partying mixed in with some good values and everything. It was interesting how when it addressed serious stuff, it was found the way to humor themselves out of it too. Is like, okay, yeah, that got way too heavy, but it's still there's some food for thought,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not to the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm just sad and depressed. Where did this come from? You know,
One of the most serious episodes where they did Bullets Over Bel-Air, where
I love that
Will
title.
sort of takes that proverbial bodyguard style bullet for Carlton in front of the ATM and then just plays it off like, oh, I tripped or whatever it was, right? That episode just gets so serious to the point of almost ridiculous because you have to believe for a moment that the character of Carlton would go out and buy a gun, right? Or get a gun somewhere. And it got really, really serious. And then I forget how they lighten it at the end, but they do. I think that episode was a two-parter, actually. Might be a two-parter.
Yeah,
I think you're
Bullets Over
right.
Bel-Air,
There
part one,
were
part
some
two.
wild ones, and yeah, I think it's just kind of like Frasier. You forget about the two brothers and their dad bickering because there's also plenty of other people who make everyone settle down. You know, there is
Right.
Roz, you know, the station producer. There is, you know, Daphne and all these others who are put in perspective. There is, you know, the somewhat unseen wives, and yeah, here is like, yeah, the butler would keep everyone in perspective, and sometimes he'd be kind of the water cooler. Is like, hey, you know,
Mhm.
you give your uncle grief, but he really means well for you. He really does actually like you.
Right.
And
Yeah, no, I
you'll
do like the whole huddle aspect. For example, something will happen outside of the mansion. Maybe Will embarrasses his
it's a
uncle at a dinner
beautiful
somewhere.
mansion.
And you're right. And then they have to come
Almost a
back to the
character in
mansion and have a
itself.
speech. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I guess that's why I like it too. Like Brady Bunch, you kind of liked because it was everyone be doing dorky stuff and the actors carry it. This one kind of went a little further. Is like, here's people in this house, but we're also going to get out of the house once in a while, and
Right.
it's not always going to be a party, but it is going to be just something that kind of gets crashed. There is always just something where it's like, wow, that got too real. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
when Will has to go to his room, you know he's not going to follow up, but he's also going to
Right.
humor his way out of it. Is like, would you want to go to this room? I'm bored, you know.
I think you can count on one hand how many times the episode will actually roll credits on a downer.
Mm.
Like,
Oh yeah,
it definitely rolled credits on a downer with his the episode where his dad shows up. And the only one of the other ones I could think of is when he puts the drugs in Carlton's locker and Carlton takes it by accident or something. I forget how that goes. And like the whole family hates Will, and then Will like confesses like that. Those two pop out.
I
To me,
think
but,
that's
like,
what made it up for it. He always came clean, and if he didn't
Yeah.
right away, there was still
yeah.
it did follow what makes essentially good writing, where there's got to be a consequence and there's got to be a reaction. It can't just be. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love TV shows where rules are broken, but we also
Yeah.
get tired of, you know, when the character just becomes an absolute monster. It's like, why am I
Right.
following them now? When now all they do is just break the law and
Yeah.
do messed up shit. And yeah, West Philly, the scenario I thought was well played there, even though it was filmed often in Burbank. But
Right.
I think that was what was kind of cool too. It a mixture of being in inner cities, middle class areas, as well as also just kind of whatever random adventure exploration he did, it was always just something nutty. Like they're checking out at a just anything, whether it's a retail mall store or
Right.
just, I'm like, wow. And even though it was shot on tape, like it's still, I think
Mhm.
again, it went above its limitations because again, just they knew how to stage him after a while. And I'm sure there were plenty of other ad libs even when they got it together, but I think it was just kind of earned. There's so many different layers to each joke that even if there were a subplot I didn't care for, there's not to the point where I'm like, wow, I can't finish this episode. It's boring, It's
Right. Right.
without the
And I
laugh
think
track, it's nothing.
that's a difficulty in the last couple seasons because they do start to retread a lot of the same tropes that they tried in the first two seasons.
Mhm.
And so I always say to Ryan, you know what, dude, you can't go 100 episodes without running to that issue a couple times, right? Or a handful of times, but at least make it interesting some way. Give me the same thing, but like spice it up or change up. And I think when when they start following the same trope and the episode ends very similarly to what we've already seen,
Yes.
that's when you begin to look like, okay, I think we're about done. I think the series is nearing its end. You can sort of feel it unless we get some kind of a restructuring in the writing. But they
No,
thought they were done after season 4.
I was about to say that. Like you could definitely feel it around that time where
I,
it's
I
like the show's
I'm
running
sure
out
I
of
saw my
steam.
share where I was like, yeah, that's a lesser episode.
Like
Right.
when you start throwing ideas like let's have Jazz get married, like you're you're really scratching for something.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that was a problem back then, and it happened in things like in Living Color, was that you would often get you would sometimes it would be who you knew. It'd be your connection to who you knew who's running the show and things like that, as opposed to just strictly talent. And that's one of the things that happened with the Wayans brothers. That was one of the biggest criticisms of that in Living Color show, was that sometimes it was great that all the Wayans were on there, but sometimes it felt like some of them were getting pushed over
Yeah.
other more
Yeah.
talented comedians, and it was just, well, we're family. And
I got
I
I did
get
a
it.
I did a watch through of George Lopez not long ago. Really
Yeah.
delightful show, but
Yeah.
much like Titus and Drew Carey, there are some moments where I'm like, same kind of producers and everything, where it's like, that was better on paper, or you should have cast a better actor to like they
Right.
had filmmaker Robert Rodriguez as like the wedding band, and it was
Wow. Okay.
kind of lame. He just
Yeah.
wasn't there as an actor, but there were plenty of
Uh-huh.
others where I'm like, yeah, that exit was rough, but I like these new characters, even though there's a bit of a transition issue when you rewatch it. But yeah, I mean, any episodes that didn't come together, I think they just always had an interesting punchline, even if the buildup was a little ham fisted.
Yeah. You've seen all of George Lopez?
Yes, that was
Okay.
a lot of
Nice.
fun actually. And I was like same deal. I would just casually watch that and then be like, yeah, I saw the ads for it. I just never knew when it was on. And then Nick at Night played the shit out of it, and I'm like, whoa, okay, this is
It was
actually
a
a
fun
lot of.
show. Yeah. Yeah.
But
And that's when he was number one, right? Like he was one of the top comics.
he was, and I think I don't know who the main writers were. I know Susan and Andy Borowitz created the show. George
Right.
Lopez was created, and I've never kept up with any of his other replications, but
Gotcha.
I don't blame him. I
Yeah.
understand totally why he'd wanted it. Okay, so yeah, Bruce Helford. Okay, yeah. So yeah, a lot of it was people who had worked on uh Wanda Sykes and Drew Carey and Norm Macdonald's different sitcoms. So
Yeah.
they had people. Lopez was one of the other creators, and then Robert Borden, who was his who later worked as a Letterman writer. So yeah, there was some reasonable sketch comedy and late night guys who were all kind of working side by side. But I just find it interesting how it just no one really knows how to replicate it. They either kind of look at the star on the package or they don't
Yeah.
follow it.
100%.
Yeah. And but yeah, like I think other shows that we would totally be like, yeah, skip this season or only watch these episodes, we can just kind of casually put it on because kind of like Frasier, I know all the characters and they are kind of bigger than the scenario, so it's okay if it just gets very weak. They can coast through it versus that was a chore to get through.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but even I'll look back at some episodes. I'm like, oh, that one, that one didn't strike me that way. And
It's
I love
funnier
season.
to talk about versus watch,
Yeah.
because there are some of like, oh, I've been in cringe situations like that.
We've all been there. Yeah, yeah. The sample abuser.
I did a Larry Sanders watch through, and that was funny too, seeing how many celebrities playing asshole versions of themselves really are bastards years later. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Right. He puts an even bigger spin on the joke. I wonder how many, because they apparently got along pretty cool behind the scenes, but they only had a few guys being a-holes behind the scenes where they had like literal meltdowns. And since the show was so meta, they would often have to freeze, and the assistant ADs are telling everybody, okay, break,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Burt Reynolds apparently was playing the guest host on there, and for whatever reason, just like the way everyone had the lights and cameras on him, like he just flipped out and was like, what the motherfucker? I'm like, whoa, okay. And so I think this is it. Like when you book talent, like make sure you can actually sit down and talk with these people instead of see if their manager, is a smooth talker. It's just, you gotta.
Yeah. I think with Burt Reynolds, I think you realize that a lot of people walked on eggshells around him, right? And I think he took advantage of that. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be afraid of me, I'm gonna use my power or whatever, right?
Yeah, they will be bastards sometimes.
Yeah.
I talk about people canceling at conventions. Is like, well, they probably signed up for it but didn't actually say yes. You guys were joking about some of the other talent that is, unfortunately, you do have to keep it separate. I mean, same thing with Community. Like Joel McHale's talked about it recently, and he's like, yeah, I mean, we didn't have an awful bad experience, but like it always is, actors are often okay with each other. It's just they're dickheads to the head of the factory.
Right.
And so then it's even more awkward. It's like when it comes time to vote as to who leaves this season, we're not going to stand it anymore. And Joel's take on it was, it's like, yeah, Chevy, he wasn't a trooper. He just the days were too long, and he wanted to get done 6 hours before the end of call time. So I think this is it too. I mean, I personally couldn't do a lot of filming schedule. That would totally mess with my circadian rhythm. So I think that's just it. You do have to have a consistent schedule, and unfortunately in show business it's very hard to do. It's very easy, because people forget, oh, you're yes, you are paid the world, but then you also still have to be perfecting your stuff outside of that. You still have to find you time, and then you still have to know your lines, and you still have to, what is unfortunate about filmmaking is, regardless of the schedule, there's a lot of time where you're watching other people do something good and studying them. And if you don't want to do any of that, then yeah, you're going to be very bored and just want to sleep in your trailer all day.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's what happens, especially once any TV series hits. Usually there'll be a handful of stars that become mega stars, and then all of a sudden the directors come calling because they want to put them in their movies.
Yeah.
And they go and they make one movie in like 45 days, and they get paid X amount of money. Like, oh my God, that was easy.
Netflix
well, not easy, but it's like,
wacky.
I'm not stuck here 10 months filming an entire season of something. You know what I mean? I'm out there doing. So it's
it's
tough.
wild though too, how everyone's like, those movies were awful. I'm like, yeah, but that's the only time
right.
they had to be in these movies. So I was never surprised when I saw my favorite sci-fi actors in bad direct-to-video horror and action movies. Same deal here with these comedians. They're all doing some Netflix stuff. It's like, whether it's good or not, well, is it an easy shoot? Is it a good use of me? Okay, cool. I'll just have to risk it and let the dominoes fall where they do. I don't.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying earlier about the whole selling out thing. It's now, it used to be like a little badge of honor to have like something, hey, I'm going to be on this Netflix special or whatever. But now it seems
you become
like
immune to it after a while.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel both been told that all their life, or you don't sound like the other guy. So what
Right.
do you do?
Yeah, right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do other than just be like, okay, I'm trying to think of a joke I can say that doesn't piss off my fans and give them
Right.
back pieces.
Yeah, it's like Jay-Z said when they said they want to hear his old sound. Well, go listen to my old album. You know what I mean? It's still there if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
But with some of the stuff, yeah, you're right. And I think there's a fandom to it too. And now more than ever, like a nostalgia. Like there's nostalgia is king right now, even though the price to go see a concert is so expensive. But you're seeing a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, a lot of old bands and groups that swore they were never going to work together. They've defrosted, and now let's go make some money, baby. You know,
I
what
will
I mean?
never share the stage with this guy. I hate him.
Yeah, we're done.
It's like,
Defrosted
nope,
is a choice
they're not
word.
Axl Ross. They actually were just mouthing off. They're fine. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, so as a side piece, yeah, Living Single was one I always heard about. I barely saw parts of. It's really only been in recent years I've seen a bunch of it. You can't go a day without it being on Bounce or BET.
Yeah, it's on for anybody streaming there. I believe
It
it's
is
on
on Hulu.
HBO Max or Max right now. Yeah.
Let's check. Is it on? Okay, I'm seeing it on Hulu now.
Oh, okay, that might be it. Well, we're in Canada, but I'm not sure.
It's
if
on
that's,
Disney
but...
Plus
Yeah, it
too,
might
if
be
you want to
different.
try that. So okay, cool.
Wow, there you go.
But yeah, I knew about Terrence T.C. Carson. He's been a very prolific voice actor, including video games like God of War, and even doing Sam Jackson impersonations. And
Yeah.
but most people are going to instantly go back to, oh yeah, the show that made Queen Latifah a star. Yeah, she was
Right. Yeah. Queen Latifah. I mean, it feels like she's been around forever.
Yeah.
And
I've
forever.
only appreciated her more. Just I think once she started doing all these other comedic ensemble stuff like Stranger Than Fiction, and then these excellent HBO movies, I'm like, okay, you can do it. You definitely can do anything now. And so when I saw people making fun of, oh, she tried out a talk show, it's not great. I'm like, yeah, but virtually everybody has done a talk show. Megan Mullally, Bonnie Hunt, just about everybody's done a talk show. That's fine.
Yeah, and I feel like with talk shows, it's kind of like some of them think it's a good idea, and then they do it, and after about a couple of seasons,
I like Drew Barrymore.
Sucks. You know
I
what I
haven't
mean?
kept up with her show, but I've seen people talk shit about her because they hate the talk show. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll always have Drew Barrymore, the actress, so whatever.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore's been through so much shit that I give her a pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't care if it's great or not. I'm like, yeah, but she's doing what she wants to do. So, I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
She's not hurting anybody, you know?
Last I checked, yeah.
Regine, hold up, yo. It's something we gotta tell you.
And trust us, we're not saying this to hurt you, really. I can't stand to see sister go out like this.
I'm telling you, I wish I was wrong this time. Girl, the man is married.
I just want a chance to explain. Please? And just give me a few minutes.
I know that he is going to leave his wife, and then he's going to marry me. And we can put this whole thing behind us.
You gotta start taking care of yourself. I mean, put Regine first. Do what you need to do for you.
Yeah, I mean, Living Single is just interesting in that, this was, NBC did Fresh Prince, and this was a Fox production, and it was created by Yvette Denise Lee Bowser, who is best known for being a writer on The Cosby Show, a spinoff, A Different World. And she became the first African-American woman to develop her own primetime show, so that's pretty progressive. She since has worked on Dear White People and Blackish, so I think that's pretty cool. I had no idea she was part of those other modern shows, but I do like a lot of these cast members. They're unfortunately not as big a name, but they have been around. And it's so funny. Apparently, Kim Coles and some of the other cast members just started a Reliving Single where they're getting in on the podcast recap.
Oh, no kidding.
I wish I was making this up. Timing is
That's
everything.
cool.
But yeah, Kim Coles, I've seen in some other stuff. She was on the first season of In Living Color, so that was my intro to her. But Erica Alexander, I think, is interesting because she has been in a lot of stuff. Like she has been in American Fiction, got some award praise for that. But I do recall her in The Long Walk Home with Whoopi Goldberg and Sissy Spacek, and she's been on shows like Bosch and everything. I'm like, okay, so these guys are mainly serious people, but I think that's what's cool too, is they're kind of not restricted to just comedy. They're just kind of actors first, and they happen to have enough charm. They were able to work on a sitcom for a while.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that you find out is sometimes you'll click on their credits and you're like, oh, this person's kind of disappeared after this show. And you'll click on their filmography and they've had an amazing, steady, like quiet career that you probably never heard of, right? To the general
just had too much to keep track of, even before the internet and streaming. Erica's been on Black Lightning and Insecure, and I still got to watch Insecure.
I mean,
is that the one on what year did that come out?
That was, she was in season 3, and that was the HBO show that ran from 2016 to very recently. Like it kind of wrapped
interesting.
up. So, 16 to 21. Okay, yeah. So She's been on plenty of other stuff. I've seen her guest star on other shows too, but I think that's what was kind of cool is I've seen again all kinds of actors guest star on this. There was one that was making fun of reality Jerry Springer type shows, and it had Jennifer Lewis as the host, and it had Will Ferrell as the guy having a mental breakdown, crying on stage. So I mean, they've had all kinds of crazy guest stars on here. They've had Miguel Nunez. They also had Nia Long and Cree Summer. Michael J. White was in one. It's and much like Fresh Prince, it's a pretty diverse cast. They've even had Shamar Moore and Rosie O'Donnell. So yeah, I think it was just interesting in that it was just a bunch of best friends hanging out together. And again, kind of like Will, Latifah's kind of the, even though she's a successful person, she just wants to goof off now that she's off the clock.
Yeah. And I think that's what I like about that show is that it's sort of like just a group of friends, but from a sort of single standpoint. But then with the dialogue and all the sort of innuendo, it's a sharper tone. It really is sort of a product of the 90s. Like even some of the sexual references, some of the sexual references that you hear wouldn't be heard today, I don't think.
No.
A lot of these shows you wouldn't hear about today.
Absolutely not. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. Fresh Prince was on NBC. We're going to be classy, but we'll still be amusing. And Fox was pretty much kind of the precursor to CBS, where we can be as over the top as we want, but we got to rein it in and still, can't have any F words, can't have any nudity.
Right.
Still can have something wacky, like someone gets locked out of their dorm, or
someone's in a chicken suit or something.
Yeah, and it wasn't as risque as most, but yeah, they would bring up some topical stuff. And I haven't seen every episode, but I've seen a shit ton of it, and it was always one of those I'm like, I wish I'd seen it sooner, but it also wasn't. It's kind of interesting. Like Fresh Prince, like just about everybody who knows about Will Smith has seen that show, even regardless of your fandom of him. And a lot of people know about Queen Latifah, but it's kind of interesting. I see more people just familiar with her music and her comedic movies. So it is funny. I don't see as much of people talking about the sitcom. And if I do, it's just mainly, that's the show she began on. And like, it's an interesting parallel. It's,
I was watching a little documentary on YouTube, and they were just saying that, unfortunately, like a year after this show started or two, they Friends began, and that was sort of different networks take on the show. And now if you go to New York, there's stores that have memorabilia, all kinds of stuff about Friends, but you won't find anything about Single Life. There's no memorabilia or anything like that.
That is wild.
Yeah,
and I think it was just we had so much to keep up with in the 90s. There was everything. There was social and political changes. There was video games, and
it was rough. Yeah, everything was us versus them, right? If you played Nintendo, you wouldn't be caught playing Sega Genesis. It was that if you drank a Coca-Cola, you didn't drink Pepsi. You didn't even talk to that person, right? It was a very. If you listen to rock music, you didn't listen to rap.
There was a lot of that, unless it was like a rap and rock group, like Chili Peppers.
Right.
Then it was okay.
Then it's okay, and I don't know what it is. It's just like it's a catchy song sung again by the lead, and I guess not every season was too terribly long, but I mean, I take it back. It's almost 30 episodes, but it was interesting in that they kind of just they bounced around, and they kind of. I think, it's just we're very oversaturated as it is, and I guess 90s, if you weren't constantly having it on, you weren't gonna see it generally. And
and you would never see it again unless somebody taped it for you or something like that, and maybe you exchanged a couple tapes with your buddy at school, and you had 6 episodes of Seinfeld or whatever taped for you. But if you missed it, you missed it.
And it was a cool cast. I mean, they're what's his name?
TC.
He had a cool name.
Terrence Carson.
No, Terrence Carson has had. It's interesting how he doesn't do as much live action anymore. After Final Destination 2, not as much, but uh, John Hinton, Obi, who was the roommate and handyman. He's interesting in that he was on the Hughleys for a bit, and Mel Jackson was on Soul Food and the Temptations miniseries, and it's interesting how the many of the cast kind of just go on to the next sitcom, but they're always still getting fan mail for this, and Latifah soars, and but yeah, I just didn't seem to be watched by as many as say In Living Color, which I guess I don't know if it's just that that's a sketch show versus a sitcom or what, but
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it even came out at the wrong time. Maybe it came out just a couple years too
93 to
soon.
98,
But
yeah,
it was the wild west of television, and it was cutthroat. They would try to put you out of business, you know. So I understand the sentiment that, hey, the people that were pushing Friends were just trying a little bit harder than this network wasn't getting these guys over.
Yeah,
It's funny. The creator of Friends really liked Living Color. So he kind of took that idea and made Friends, which so I personally never even heard of Living Single until like last week when Chris told
you
me
guys gave a
this.
disclaimer. I mean, and that's fine. I mean,
yeah.
My mother, just never saw it. She's like, yeah, I like Queen Latifah. I'm like, yeah. Did you ever see the sitcom that put her on the map? No,
it's insane. Yeah. And like for me, it's like these are the kind of sitcoms that where I'll actually try to watch, right? Like I love like Smart Guy, Fresh Prince, obviously. So it's like for this, especially like
Smart
Friends,
Guy,
like my wife,
a Disney.
I love Smart Guy, but Chris throws me for Smart Guy all the time. But my wife's a huge Friends fan. I've watched Friends like more times than probably anything else, and seeing the week leading up to us doing this, seeing the clips from Living Single, and like I think I saw the same documentary that Chris did. It's insane how like similar it is to Friends. And then when you actually dig deep into it, that the creator of Friends really liked Living Single, like, okay, no wonder there's like this behind the scenes kind of drama with David Schwimmer saying that he wasn't aware of this show, but then he was. Like, there's this whole thing that you get into, and it's like, man, a lot of shows just did not get their due, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the characters, some of them appeared on other short-lived UPN shows like The Crew and Half and Half. I had seen ads for Half and Half, but I had no idea that was connected. But sitcoms will do that too. Like they did kind of do that with Two and a Half Men. I heard there was a Dharma and Greg reunion. I'm like, that makes sense. It's a Chuck Lorre production.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think also people like to watch bad TV and make fun of it, whether it's something that went on too long, like Big Bang Theory, or something that's known for being notoriously bad, like Dynasty, an Aaron Spelling production, or even Walker Texas Ranger. Is like, yeah, of course you watched it. Everyone was watching it. You couldn't take your eyes off it.
Right.
It wasn't
Walker
good.
Texas Ranger. Right.
It's just a car crash.
It's a total car crash. And yeah, Latifah's never, much like Will, she has never downplayed it or acted like, oh, it's beneath me now. I don't do that anymore. I think everybody had a lot of fun working with it. I've never heard of anyone who hated each other's guts working on it. It did win a lot of Image Awards back in '98. It's about everybody on the cast won or got nominated. But there's another award show that doesn't get talked about as much, Image Awards.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
By the NAACP. I'm like, come on.
Oh, man.
This was definitely an era, though, where like black television was they were changing the way that they had been perceived, because up until then, they've been presented as very wholesome. You know what I mean? Like when you had things like Family Matters and everything that came before that, it was very cookie cutter. Like, this is the show that you watch after dinner at 6 o'clock.
You got to be very dumb or very dorky, or it's it's even funnier what stuff that is a cultural blind spot for me that I've kind of discovered in recent years. Again, I heard about it, but it just wasn't widely available. Stuff like Head of the Class or Parker Lewis Can't Lose. And I'm just like, yeah, it's funny how I know a lot about these, but I've never actually seen these.
Yeah, it's just you now, through the beauty of streaming, you can really, it makes things so much more accessible. Like if you want to go back and watch an episode of
I
Roseanne
mean, they owe it.
or Home Improvement or just something that you remember so vividly
Oh
from
my
the
God.
90s?
I've only been a casual viewer of Home Improvement. It's so
Oh,
funny.
same, yeah.
Same thing here
Yeah.
is like now when I see it mentioned, I know instantly what they're referencing. Tool Time. Oh, and it's just so funny how some sitcoms they just did that. Like they didn't have to be good each week, but you just they had these enough of these catchphrases and recurring bits. It's like, yeah, I know that guy.
Right.
Yeah,
Even if I don't know the whole story or didn't watch a lot of it, I know the whole gist of it. It's
Yeah, they'd have like similar tropes.
the what's that one? Like real men don't read instructions. That's also from that, right?
I think so. Is that what was
maybe.
I
when they were
swear
filming?
that's a Home Improvement joke.
Yeah.
I think
It
so.
probably is. Or
I might have
very
lost you guys. Whatever. Ignore it.
I always love the
it's
whole
fine.
dynamic.
It might be. But also I'll just name off a few others. Former talk show host Flip Wilson was in one. Gilbert Gottfried was in one.
Oh, Gilbert, yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Q-Tip, the musician, was in one. Regina King, CCH Pounder, Gladys Knight,
Wow.
exploitation actor Ron O'Neill, Eartha Kitt.
It's funny they never had Will Smith on there.
Yeah, so wild. Michael Boatman. So there you go. From Spin City. He's on there. Yeah, Bob. They did have Bobcat Goldthwait. Katie Fox is on here. Mara Van Peebles. They do have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So there you go.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
Fresh Prince type role. where he's
Heavy
playing
D as well.
Heavy D.
Oh, look at
yes.
Heavy D, because Heavy D also did Fresh Prince. That's funny.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. As there is also Shaka Khan as herself. So there you go. And
Wow.
that's
No
lovely
Donald
s-
Trump. Donald Trump's in Fresh Prince, but not in this one.
Well,
Oh, yeah, he is in Fresh Prince. You're right.
oh dear.
He was making the rounds. He was in the Home Alone movie where
Yeah.
supposedly he only let them use the hotel if he was in it or something like that.
Oh dear.
That's insane.
So telling. So this wasn't
Right.
a Quincy Jones production, but it was by Tom Anderson, who worked on Cheers, and Robin S.H. Schulman, who's later was part of the Shrek crew, and Bill Fuller and Jim Pond. So yeah, it's not a Quincy Jones production, but it is a Warner Brothers production. So
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it is so funny how you bring up millionaires playing themselves. That was kind of the thing to do, is like if they made the headlines, if they've been on talk shows, we gotta have just some wacky real life connection just to make it topical.
Right.
But yeah, I randomly ran into the Drew Carey episode with Donald Trump, and I don't hold this against it. We didn't know back then, but it's like, God, I hate how it ends. Where basically he's saving them all. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
They put him over. Yeah. Why would you do that?
And yeah, Living Single is like much like Fresh Prince. It's a party show, so that's kind of why I branched it together. But it is also a topical coming of age kind of show, just best friends. Don't get me wrong, I've seen plenty of other sitcoms, and almost everybody had a sitcom. Jamie Foxx, for God's sakes, had a sitcom. But I was just like,
Yeah.
with this one, I was just like, yeah, this is very comforting.
What I also found more than Friends is that with this show, you really get to see from a guy's perspective, you kind of get to see what the women sort of talk about with respect to dating and things like that. Like now everything's so accessible, everything's all over everywhere.
But it avoids kind of like Fresh Prince has guys, but it avoids being a frat boy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not, it's nowhere near like Revenge of the Nerds or Porky's where you're like, oh dear, that's not going to age well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And this, it's women, but it's not chick flick. It is kind of almost, I guess, like designing women. It just was one of those sitcoms a lot of people saw, and if they didn't see, they at least knew about it, and it was on for a reasonable amount of time, syndicated. And I think it just helped that they're all different professions there.
Yeah. You got the lawyer and
Yep. They all have different skills, and they all apply themselves differently. And I think I just dig it because it's kind of a little more drier, but yet they're all just playing off of it. So it's definitely, especially if you got some actor or theater friends, you definitely might like it more, just because it is kind of a fun kind of warm up comedy tour instead of a got to be in your face every which way. And
Yeah, sometimes the way the characters talk to each other is a little bit sharper than the way they speak to each other in the Fresh Prince, for example. But I think it's shorter and to the point, right? And I think sometimes when you're short with somebody, especially on screen, sometimes it shows the audience that no, we speak that way because we're comrades, we're buddies, we're friends, like we're supposed to
Mhm.
be.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I
fact that
also
they're
think Fresh Prince.
cousins and they're also driving each other crazy, I think
Yeah,
you can do so much with that, especially if I don't know about you guys. I'm so close with so many relatives, and it's so funny how we would all play pranks on each other, or just we wouldn't get in trouble, but we'd just be like, yeah, it's just like I'm gonna give you hell when you get here.
it's just a way to. It's just an endearing thing, right? I have nephews, and every time I bother them, I go up to my sister, and I'll say to my sister, I become that really annoying uncle. It just bothers them all the time, like plugging their ears and things like that, right? One day you
Perfect.
just wake up and that's who you are.
One day you wake up, you answer the phone. Yeah. Some other guest stars who were on here are also we didn't get Vanessa L. Williams. We got the other one, Vanessa A. Williams. We got
Right.
Bill Morris. We got this didn't have Wayne Newton, but it does have Mark Curry. It does have Arsenio Hall as himself in the season one. So Morris Chestnut, a few other rappers, including Drez.
Yeah. I haven't heard Morris Chestnut in a while.
He's always busy. He's kind of taken over the
Yeah.
whole got to be in every mystery movie. It is also funny too how I guess I would have expected this to be like an MGM or Sony production, but no, it's a Warner Brothers production.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you were saying earlier that it's not a Quincy Jones production. I mean, it feels like it's got his fingerprints on it in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It's I think it's just again, it's very accessible.
Yeah,
For there's going to be a lot of morons who are going to just look at something and when they see a colored cast, they're like, "Oh, it's aimed at a black demographic." It's like, no,
right.
this is pretty beloved to any kind of demographic.
Yeah.
It's just again kind of like, I mean, look at all the other shows. It's like there were most people were watching, say, in the '90s, Law and Order and NYPD Blue, but they weren't watching the other shows that were kind of liked better, like New York Undercover and Homicide. So it's interesting how this is there, yeah, in that zeitgeist. And it is funny how you found some research on how the Friends crew was inspired by this, and yet Friends became bigger. So you're like,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, there wasn't any foul play, but I don't know why one is bigger than the other.
I think it's all timing. Like Chris kind of said, it kind of came out
we were kind of
early.
snarky when it was cool to be snarky, and now
Right.
everybody is kind of hitting a standstill where we don't know how shocking to be without pissing a lot of people off. And
It's
a lot of comedians are having to find their voice again. It's like, how can I be found with my pants down without going too far? It's like, well, if you're clever, again, we're talking about all these different comedians we've seen on HBO. We like them because they're not, again, they can be G-rated or they can be, X-rated. It doesn't matter as long as they're funny. I've seen Sarah Silverman be over the top. I've seen Whoopi Goldberg and Billy Crystal do it for years. It can be done. I think Queen Latifah was just the right kind. She's just, I don't know if I'm going to, she's kind of, it's interesting. Like she wasn't necessarily like rude on the show, but she was definitely very blunt. But it's funny how for a while she was kind of doing some dumb comedies, but then she's kind of softened up and kind of done more just very inspiring movies too. So it's just funny. She has kind of always been the queen of unpredictability.
Yeah, even on Fresh Prince, she shows up twice. Once as
that's right.
as Will's boss.
Wow.
Will's looking
she
for
wasn't playing James.
That's like the most obvious connection, and we never mentioned it.
They were.
But she plays two completely different characters,
so that's awesome. But yeah, no, that's true. They would. I do like the Two Timers Club because, like, if you miss them there, you'll see him as a different person on another episode.
You know what? An insane guest star that these two shows have that you would not think. Naughty by Nature.
What else?
Naughty by Nature, because Naughty by Nature, wasn't that the episode in Fresh Prince when they shot the music video in his house?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
right.
And then there's an episode a lot of people talk about. They're like, "Yeah, the one with Treach."
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It's like, what are
love
you
that
trying to
dude.
do here? I
He
was just
gets
trying to be in
shit
the
on a lot.
video.
I like him.
I think anytime you do an episode where it's based around like a film set and you have to do the same take like 2-3 times, the comedy of 3 after 3 is no longer funny, but you can do the same trope 3 times. Every time they're cutting the video to restart again, it just gets funnier and funnier. And by the end, you just gotta have to
I
throw
think
your
this
hands in
is
the air.
it. They somehow, the way they filmed it was just very fascinating. So, and they had enough reactions to everything. So
Right.
that made up for how stretched out it was. But no, that's a good point. There's plenty of the other sitcoms we mentioned where it's like, that's a fun premise. But yeah, I don't know if I'd watch that again if it'd be as funny or, yeah, it kind of ran out of steam in the last 30 seconds wrapping it up for time.
Yeah, the crowd added a lot to that show. I think all the seasons were filmed in front of a live studio audience,
It
and
definitely had an
they
SNL
would
feel.
pump them up. It'd be like a party at times when all the cameos would come in. In the first few seasons, they would get that standing ovation. By the end, they're like, no, we need those seconds. So we're not going to let you stand there for 30 seconds and get cheered.
Fox did a similar thing with Rock.
Right.
And like Charles is done in the serious actor doing comedy. Who would have thought? And I thought it was just interesting. Is like there was one where it's like they flat out just had some studio audiences and they're talking as they're about to begin a scene. I'm like, that's pretty edgy. Who would have guessed that?
Yeah.
Even now, looking back at stuff like that, but yeah, I see plenty of others where I'm like, yeah, this is so outdated, but it's kind of fun, even though it's not landing.
Right. Yeah. It's like, what are they giving these people? That line wasn't that funny, but it is what it is.
Oh man. And I mean, did you ever have one growing up like where you were just obsessed with, but it was like, I don't even want to, revisit? Like, it's so funny. I saw parts of like stuff like Becker at my grandparents. I knew about Moesha, but didn't watch much of that. And my sister surprisingly watched more of the Nanny than I did, and I was more of the Dick Van Dyke Show guy. So it's funny, just what stuff just slips in or not. Wings, only casual. Fresh, Third Rock, I loved, and I had a student and school friend who absolutely hated Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, no way. Because of Raymond?
He's like, why don't they put hate in the title? I'm like, I don't know. Probably because I like it. There's other ones where kind of like Smart Guy, like that, like I saw enough of them growing up. I know why they worked as like a kid show, but like I don't want to go back to it. And it's not that I don't think they would be outdated. It's just I'm like, I'm not in that space anymore. So stuff like Boy Meets World, I'm like, saw it, liked it. I saw enough. I don't need to ruin myself with how outdated it likely is.
I do not recommend watching it again. Like,
okay,
I kind of
perfect.
I kind of did that recently.
Really?
And I've never noticed how annoying Corey is until now.
Yeah, Corey didn't do much, did
Dude,
he?
when he was older, like in the later seasons, it's like, yo, shut the hell up. Like, let these people, like, leave them alone. Like, oh my God. And as a kid, you don't really notice any of that because you're kind of just in it for the laughs at that point. But once you're like an adult and you're just trying to like see something, trying to find something deeper in these shows, it's like, this doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, Boy Meets World is, it's better off as a memory.
I was never a King of Queens fan, and it only got even worse when I saw other people trying to just put it on, and it's on random Fox or TV Land's channels. They're like, "Why? This isn't funny." I'm like, I didn't think it was funny then, but
right,
you've been trying to tell them
it was 9 seasons.
It wasn't funny then. It's not funny now. Yeah.
I was listening to another podcast looking at nostalgia from the 90s, and they were talking about different sketch shows and everything. And one of them was rewatching all of that, and they're like, "Hey, loved this as a kid. I don't recommend watching these type of sketch shows now." It's just,
that's too bad.
It said, but
yeah,
I respect it. I know what I was trying to do. I think Will and Grace has aged pretty well, and I think it's just because there's more to the punchline than I'm a gay guy and a straight guy living with my other crazy friends.
Yeah, it doesn't go for the easy comedy a lot of the time.
It's so funny because people often, that's like all they talk about. And I on rare occasions, I'd see people say, but it's so funny. Even like the bigots leave it alone. It's so wild. Right. It's like it's just too smart for them. So they fuck off. So it's just funny. It's like the shows that get hated on are just by people who like have nothing better to do, or that you could easily sink, a hole in. It's a boat you could easily sink, it's just But yeah, I don't see enough people talk about Wings, even though Daly and Steven Weber's in everything now.
I could not tell you why, as a 14, 15-year-old kid, just Wings just never grabbed me at all.
No, it's
There's just
fine, dude.
something about it. And
It
but
wasn't.
like I
It was
enjoyed
on at a
something
weird
like
time.
yeah, and I enjoyed something like Cheers, even though Cheers was like 10, 15 years older or 10 years older than that. But for some reason, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed
Yeah,
Frasier.
that
This stuff
show.
was,
That's a good
you
point
know,
on Cheers because, like, I'm not a drinker, but it was just
mhm,
very reassuring. Like, I think it made good use of the setting. Like,
right.
I've seen some people say they didn't care for the nanny, but like they liked all the actors and Fran Dresser's like a beloved person who stayed
Right.
relevant in every comedy format. I think looking at other ones that were on around this time, I think Just Shoot Me is just kind of a weird one where I'm like, it wasn't really funny, but I just watched it just because it was this easy going. But I don't think it was
Right.
funny. I didn't laugh with the laugh track, even though every other comedian I could think of was on that damn show.
They were swinging with some of these ones. Remember Dear John?
Oh my god.
I mean, that one came out in the 80s, but similar idea. It lasted like four
Yeah, I think I
seasons. And
saw.
I just always I watched a few episodes because it didn't have a fascinating premise, but I just thought, okay, it's weird. Like this is about this guy's life. His wife leaves him.
John
All right.
Hirsch. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was
Man,
a. I think I definitely saw parts of that. I mean,
Yeah.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch was kind of that way. I'm like, okay, it's a
mm.
puppet cat, and there's all this other stuff, but it's not really landing. But it's easy going, but it's not
Yeah.
memorable. I don't know. There's so much stuff where it's like once the '90s in, I don't know how you would define that to anybody.
Ooh, well, it changed so much. I
Jim
mean,
Henson
when
had dinosaurs.
yeah,
There was Grace
right.
Under Fire. My mom liked Caroline in the City, but for me, I was like, it's kind of too dorky for me. I don't know.
Right, right.
I don't think anyone talks about Ellen as much, given how the personas changed so much. But yeah, that '70s show is another one where I'm like, I had a lot of fun watching it. I don't think I need to really revisit it. It was one of those I didn't watch it because it looked lame, and then my siblings got into it, and
Yeah,
friends were
right.
talking about it when it was in reruns, and I was like, okay, I get it, but it's not the first thing I'm going to seek out because there's so many
Yeah.
idiots on it.
No, I know that's true. Did you ever watch any Saved by the Bell or anything like that?
Casually, and
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those where it kind of like all the Aaron Spelling productions. I could kind of get why it was trashy, but people watched it anyway. It was like I
Yeah.
liked the actors and other stuff, and some of them really evolved, as actors. But you would have never guessed they were on this wacky show that everybody was watching. Even
Right.
people who hated sitcoms knew about it.
Yeah, I was always on in the morning, every morning right before school.
Oh, on
Saved by the Bell
TBS
would be on.
played the hell out of it. I'm like, are you serious? Okay,
Yeah, right.
we're gonna go straight from this before more of Family Matters and
Yeah, yeah, just plug me in.
Cheers. Okay, yeah, plug me in. Oh, and I mean, it's funny you were mentioning Smart Guy. I always, there's the Maori connection. I did watch a lot of Sister Sister and some of those other Disney Channel
I was
stuff.
about to
It's
bring that
like,
up.
yeah, I was like, see, that's just fun and laid back. But I think that would definitely have aged better just because I like Tim Reed, the actor, so much. He just was a very reassuring head of the household.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Mr. Bean or anything like that during that Mr.
Oh
Bean mania?
yes, yeah, man. It's so funny how what British experimental stuff kind of just swept. I think saw the movie in theaters. I'm like, geez. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the other problem too. People are just complaining about older days, but then they're not looking at what mistakes were made or why some stuff did or didn't appeal back then. It is kind of lightning in a bottle, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, you also got just too many programming presidents who like to just throw stuff in the trash if it didn't generate enough views. It's like, well, there's an audience for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's brutal. Even now, in everything is permeated movies, sports, and everything
Oh
in
yeah.
between. They bring people in that have like a large following because that's really what they want is they want to be able to sort of piggyback off
Mhm.
that notoriety that that person already comes with. Oh, you have 15 million Instagram followers. Well, you'd be great for this role.
And
You
it
know what I
might
mean?
not
Just because you're going to be able to push our indie movie, you know?
it might not even be the actual person. It's their social media manager, the firm
Right.
questions. Um,
Yeah.
uh, one show that I've only casually like seen parts of, it just was kind of just casually talked about was In the House which was again, Alfonso Ribeiro, was on that. That was just kind of his other thing he did after Fresh Prince.
Yeah, did you watch a lot of that in the 90s?
No, just casually, like I just would see it and be like, hey, it's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
LL
Oh,
Cool J
J
was in
stressed
that, right?
himself. Mm-hmm. Debbie
Yeah, LL Cool
Allen,
J
I'm
was in that.
like, Kim Wayans.
This is when LL Cool J sort of put down the microphone and he was making more movies. He
Yeah.
had done.
He started just casually and slowly, and yet most
Yeah.
people were remembering his movies versus, but he started out doing a
But
sitcom.
yeah. I also rap. But what was that movie with the shark where he was a
Deep
chef?
Sea. Yeah. Yep.
It's got one of the best surprise kills. I don't know about all time, but definitely
That's
for the time.
what we kind of remembered was just all the craziness. It's so funny. I had some family friends who were talking about all the crazy, just kind of weird dramedies they remembered watching, and I was looking at some of the David E. Kelly stuff. Where it was like, yeah, the practice still holds up, but yeah, Ally McBeal, like the cast was fun, but that show itself just doesn't hold up for me. But yet,
yeah,
I think it's just interesting. Like it was kind of, again, people liked it because of the Top Wheel stuff, and the rest of us were just watching it just because there was some naughty humor in it and everyone was sexy. But then at the same time, you're like, yeah, but there's also some cringe in there. So it is absolutely a product of its time. I don't regret it existing, but it is one of those I'm like, yeah, I just watch the first few seasons. You don't need to see anything after that. That's not.
Oh, it's one of those, eh? Yeah, that's too bad.
A terrible finale where you're like, that's it. She's just gonna leave. What are we doing?
That's how we're gonna write it off.
It's like you want to talk. Just it's already bad that people left the show, but then you're just like, we're just gonna end. It's nothing. I'm like, that's it. That is not. No, that's not good.
Yeah.
But I think this is it. Like, it was immune for a while just because people loved, again, just the cast.
Yeah, and it's just depending where some of these shows lived, like some of these shows flatlined in the ratings because they were put up against monsters on other networks. As opposed to, hey, put me on at 10 o'clock, I'll be your best rated 10 p.m. show, right? But
and it was
they don't always get to make those calls.
If you didn't set the tape, you always missed it, and it is a shame that it's taken them years to also just figure out, hey, if you don't. If you have a lot of music, you're going to have to pay more people, and you're not going to be able to release it on physical media.
Right.
I wonder what goes on in executives' minds too, because there are some other funny sitcoms, but again, just because we can't keep up, it's still annoying that we have to remind them, you're going to have to look at the streaming numbers as this, and you got to include it as the tally. You can't just duly note it, because not everybody has TV.
Yeah, it's so hard. Back then, it was just like the Nielsen ratings, and if your show got a 3.2, then that's what it was. And now it's, we have to take consideration the streaming numbers, and some companies don't even reveal them, so it's hard to even tell what is legit and what's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I think the other problem is after I'm seeing CBS do a total cluster with canceling stuff like spin-offs to make room for more spin-offs, I'm like, oh, okay, so you can cancel it at will if it suits you.
Yeah,
right.
This isn't the first time. There's plenty of other times you guys have done this. So what keeps it afloat? What stops it from going off the air for good? I don't know. I really don't. And I just find it even funnier how some of the most depressing stuff on TV is still on because there's a lot of funny characters or comedians on them. And
like which one are you thinking about?
Oh, everything. Like, SVU and Criminal Minds have a lot of funny stuff, and everyone's like, "Why do you watch it?" It's like because people love the characters. Star Trek's not a comedy, but there's a lot of funny stuff on all those shows that. Like
Captain Picard's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean, I've become like a huge like probably my favorite show of all time at this point is The Sopranos. And
it's a very funny show, even though
it's funny, but I didn't see the humor at first until like my second watch through where I'm like, I used to feel bad for this person, and now I'm just laughing at this person.
You want to talk a product of its time, like the fact that they almost didn't air it. I'm like, oh, HBO, when do you have standards? Come on, air it. And
exactly.
It is so funny how it's like I couldn't even get a concrete answer on why people liked it because you still got, it's so funny. A gangster movie, that's okay, but then gangster show. Oh, what's
Oh,
up?
that's too much.
I'm like, yeah, you're seeing what you're seeing on all these other. I mean, there's crime franchises on now like Power and the Yellowstone Saga. So it's like it, and it's just so funny how it's like people like them because they show people being contrarians, saying ironic things. The fact that people were watching Succession and didn't realize that it's a satire, I'm like, oh, that's troubling. How did you not know?
Yeah, right. It's a whole right.
The icing's on the cake, and you didn't even notice it. But yeah, I don't know why some people are patient about some stuff and other stuff just goes over their head. But yeah, it just was one of those. I'm like, well, obviously, if I get my parents' take on it, one of them's going to be like, yeah, I saw some of that. It's pretty good. And the my mother's like, you will now watch this in the house. I'm like, okay. I wasn't going to. I'm in college now. But it's just so funny. I think it was split into that manner. And even when I see people praising it or saying, oh, it doesn't hold up, I wonder how much of it are the right people watching it for the right reasons, or are you getting some of the usual where you have people saying, oh, I just watched it because it was sexy and violent. It's just so funny how we do this with the sitcoms too. Is like, did you find it funny, but was it actually good?
Right. It's kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. If I tell somebody what it's about, and everybody knows what it's about, not most people because it's been around forever, but if I explain it, it doesn't sound like the most exciting show in the world, but you kind of have to just watch it and sort of understand the irony of the whole thing and just the ridiculous situations that these characters go into.
With Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, yeah.
You have to keep it very basic. It's like the Muppets meets Elvira. It's a sci-fi horror show where two robots and a guy are trapped in space, and that's all you can say. They're watching bad movies, but I see most people, without fail, I would see siblings, my mother explain it to people, and that their brain short circuit. They do not pay attention after the first sentence. That you confuse them. So it is funny how, no paragraphs. Okay, one direct sentence, and that's it. Like,
right.
Let people introduce it, because I don't know. We all do this. If you put too much of it just front and center, we can't process it, or we do short circuit like electronic in our mind. We just like, I don't know what you just said, but that's funny, kind of. I'm not going to check it out though. Well, yeah, I don't know how you get people's attention. I mean, there's a funny show I recommend now called Animal Control. Okay. And it has a lot of the Broken Lizard and all kinds of sitcom and mockumentary guys working on it, and it stars Joel McHale.
Oh, okay. Is this on streaming?
Yes, it's on Fox, and you can find it on Hulu. And they've had other people from Scrubs and Community on there, but it's just so funny how it's its own little thing. So it's kind of a sleeper thing. It's already been on for 3 years now. It's kind of just a small. Nutty stuff is going to happen every time, and everybody's kind of, even when it's not like ha funny, you're just like, what the hell am I just watching? It helps that it's not just the office stuff or them trying to get laid or them capturing dangerous animals. It's all kind of just, I think, because it's just nutty and random, but organized random. If I think,
looks like cool, good cast.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like, I can't compare it to anything else. So. That's why it's kind of its own niche,
That's funny. I like it.
There's nothing worse though when we watch something new and we're like, oh, okay, but this is just the new I Love Lucy Seinfeld template, with starring someone else. Is I don't know how anyone stands out, especially. I think it's just the production values that really is like, there's got to be more than just the free or single camera setup, and it's got to be more than just middle-aged guy with a midlife crisis being trolled by their parents.
Yeah, this looks like it's shot pretty well. It doesn't have that really overabundance of light. It's shot more, you don't want to say documentary style, but it's sort of, it's got a grassroots feel to it,
and there's no laugh track, but
interesting.
It's just as funny. It's just, but yeah, I don't. It's interesting what shows use a laugh track and it's like, oh, it doesn't need it, and there's others just like, yeah, I don't know if it's as funny without the laugh track reminding me.
Yeah, I sometimes right. That's the whole bazinga thing, right? It has to tell you bazinga, so you know what to laugh.
Let me say it 5 times. Now it's even funnier.
I like to watch some fan edits sometimes on YouTube. Well, they'll remove the laugh track, and it is the most awkward conversation. I'm like, oh my god, this is so awkward. Put the laugh track in,
Yes. Oh my god. And the amount of people who will guest on some of these too is just like, yeah, of course. I didn't even know they were on it, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna check that out. Animal Control.
Yes, promise.
That's
It's
cool.
not again, it's crazy. And that's why it works.
And it's got real animals in it, which is kind of nice. I'm an animal
Sometimes.
guy, so sometimes I saw ostriches.
The penguin CGI was really good though.
All right, I'll check that out.
It is funny what other stuff just. I mean, Ted Lasso is an interesting one because it's kind of a dramedy, but like I didn't check it out the first 2 years because no one wanted to watch Apple during COVID. But it's funny how it's kind of now it's becoming the meme baby. I'm like, oh, don't wreck it, guys. Just go in cold. It's by the guys who did Scrubs and Spin City, but it's a whole different comfort food. But
yeah. Are they doing another season or no?
Season 4 is in the works, but it was kind of one of those they just needed a moment. They just needed to breathe first,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find TV also is taking longer to make. Like
really
I feel like
is.
they used to pump it out like way faster back then, and I understand a lot of that.
So that's why you had filler stuff. There was just so much.
Yeah.
In the factory being turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't stand when you're like so into a show and then it's like, let's just say there's 4 seasons. You get to the end of that 4th season, and then all of a sudden you're waiting 3-4 years for season 5. It's like, what in the hell? By then it's like, do you lose your?
You can't do that if it's unless it's an HBO show. There's just no.
Yeah, man. Like The Boys is kind of doing that to me. Like,
Boys, I'm taking my time on. I'm like, okay, cool, no spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
But Ryan, you binged The Boys, so you kind of did
that was my problem because I spent so much time contemplating like when to jump into it, and then Darren, like a friend of ours, he finally convinced me, and I was like, you know what, this is the time. And then I swear I watched all 4 seasons in like a month. Well, less than that, 3 weeks, and then. I'm thinking season 5 is right around the corner, right? This is
why I'm glad I did this with you guys, because like I had to do this when I first got into podcasting, and then I had to battle with insomnia, and then I did some personal therapy, and then it was totally recommend BetterHelp. Easy plug, but
nice, yeah.
I hear a lot about it.
We all have stuff that drives us crazy that we didn't realize is eating us up personally, but yeah, then I was having to figure out, okay, so when am I going to have time to do what I really love to do? It's not the only thing I want to do, but when do I make time to actually watch movies and TV? Because that's becoming a chore, and that shouldn't be it. So it's just but you have to always kind of, like you say, is like, okay, between this time and that time, I'm watching something either on YouTube or I got a show on or a movie.
Yeah.
And then I can get back to exercise, laundry, chores.
Yeah, the real life stuff.
And then we can record this podcast later, and then we'll end it with either 2 to 3 hours of movies and shows, and then now let's go to bed. Now that we've cleared our mind, we can meditate and all that. But that's just it. I get that other people have a crazy schedule where they don't know when they'll have time for anything.
And I think we've all become in different varying degrees, but our attention spans are just shorter, whether we want to admit it or not. This year, I just want to sit down and read some books, but I haven't read anything yet this year. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I'm just always constantly getting distracted.
As an ebook or as physical? There's that predicament. What's more affordable? What's better for your eyes?
Yeah, should I get Audible? Everything's a service now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my dad really
you can't buy it anymore.
Audiobooks. I only do it if it's a good narrator. Like
like the actual person that wrote the book, the author.
Like Lou Diamond Phillips has this new sci-fi fantasy apocalyptic book series he's written.
Oh, cool!
And it's very Dune, Star Wars-esque. And he narrated the sequel to it that came out recently, and I'm like, I'm buying that because him and his daughter acting off each other. They're doing all the voices. I'm like, this is a fucking great listen. That's
cool.
This is real. This is 50s radio reimagined. But
yeah.
So I promise you, if we do a audio drama, which we will, we just got to make time for it. I promise to reach out to you guys, and we'll see.
It'd be cool.
But it is interesting how that's kind of made a comeback with podcasts. People have just appreciated hearing the actual vocals and imagining. But then
even stuff like even listening to stuff like old like Twilight Zone style radio from like the 50s.
Man.
They don't do that shit anymore. And excuse my language. And it's just so it's so cool. Yeah.
Just so many ethics reviews and
right.
Morality plays. But yeah, that people do theater plays, and I'm like, why don't they broadcast theater live to some people? That might be just as cool as hearing a college basketball game on your local station. Why can't you do it this way too? And I don't know how much of it is, but I'm sure you guys have encountered this too. I've encountered people who are like, oh, can I watch that podcast on YouTube? I'm like, no, it is strictly audio only. Use your imagination and download it to your phone and hook it up to your car.
Personally, I like that better just because, like,
no, it's fine. But
like, my day job, it's like I get a lot of podcast listening in. So if it's one where it's like there's no video, then I feel even better about listening to it. It's like, okay, this is the one for today.
It's like it's kind of the second way to let people know we're a big deal now. But I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, it's not going to be available in that format all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the key thing is balance, though. Like back to that other thing, like balance is the hardest thing in life. I feel like I just had a kid, right? Like
oh shit,
that's thrown me off like for a loop. Not as hard as I thought it would, but like still, your whole life changes, and it's like you have less and less time to do what you were doing before, and now you got to pick and choose what to do. If you can stack things, then I suggest you stack things, such as listening to a podcast while playing a video game. Like, do that. Like, but man, like I think in life in general, like balance is like the hardest thing because again, there's so many shows. Like which one do I jump into? Do I jump on the thing that's current and that everyone's talking about, so I could kind of be in on the conversation and maybe do it on the podcast, or do I finally go back and jump into something that I hear so much about? It's like you gotta constantly pick between that. At least I do. I don't know. I feel like that's my struggle.
There's definitely a bit of that where it's like,
like now I got to go watch Living Single. Like there's something else on my list.
You'll get there. I think this is it too. Like I kind of do kind of a tap out with a few different things. I make different times. Sometimes on my work days, it's like, okay, before I go to work, I'm going to sneak in some TV.
Yeah.
And I have my invisible timers, so I know, okay, now it's time to get dressed and speed into traffic. But it's just, it is funny too, just kind of remind yourself, it's like, yeah, but this can wait. It doesn't have to happen right now.
I think sometimes it's good to put it in a list, right? What you want to watch next, because I tell you, sometimes I get stuck in just doom scrolling through Netflix. I'm like, oh my God, 17 minutes has passed by and I'm still scrolling. Like, let's choose something. So sometimes you literally have to play hot potato. Grab your controller, choose something. Choose something that's on your list and just sit down. You know what I mean? But
my problem is if that happens to me, I end up just picking something I watched already.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Let's just go back to The Sopranos. Fuck it. Like, I'm down for that again. But there's something to be said about that.
It's funny too how like it's like, do I just want something easy? There's a lot of shows I would pay to just like binge again, but then I'll never get caught up with the stuff I'm behind on watching, and it sucks having to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to skip for this. I'm going to watch the recap of this and skip to that. I'm not going to remember it anyway, but I have to watch it also.
Yeah. Do you use any apps to track the movies and TV shows you've watched?
Definitely IMDb, but I find that Taste Dive is also pretty helpful at. It's like, if you like this, here's these other shows based on keywords and other plot similarities or similar cast and crew. It's like, yeah, so if you like Sopranos, you might like the,
Right. It's like Letterboxd and some of these other ones.
Yeah. Now there's I forget the name of it, but there's a great site for rating TV that is kind of the Letterboxd equivalent. I introduced my friend to it, and he was instantly jumping on there.
Oh, no kidding. What's it called?
Okay. Letterboxd.
Interesting. Yeah, that stuff's cool. I do like that they recommend other stuff, and it's a good way of like discovering other stuff by your favorite director and things like that you might not know of.
Serialized? Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Just with a D. Yeah, and that was cool. I made all kinds of lists on there.
Yeah, it's just so hard to keep track, and everything's on a different stream. It's It's crazy.
You
You almost
play
have to
Eeny, Meeny,
play
Miny, Mo. I wasn't intending
Snakes
to.
and Ladders. I just want to watch Sopranos or whatever, right? Whatever it's gonna
Yeah, I wasn't even intending to pay for Peacock, but then
be.
we had a different
Right.
digital cable package, and I was like, okay, well,
Right.
all the stuff I want to watch is on there. I'm not suffering for on demand, so
Right.
Mm, yeah.
Sometimes you miss paying $150 per month for every single channel. You know, this is supposed to be cheaper, isn't it? You
I
know.
love doing this, don't I? Oh, gang. Hey, this has been a delight because, like, it's interesting how these particular sitcoms kind of they didn't just make us go on a tangent. They also kind of just showed us how they kind of echo the unpredictabilities of life
Right.
Yeah.
versus other
Absolutely, yeah.
ones which are just desperate for laughs. So it's like, let's make everybody be as dumb and random as we can.
Right. Yeah. The double of silliness in each character is turned up and down depending on who's going to be the comedic person of that
Mhm.
episode.
Totally. And you never know if it's just going to be no holds barred. And I don't know. I think it doesn't help that sometimes fans can be pretty toxic about stuff where I'm like, okay, I hoped you watched it because it was awesome, not because it was, offensive and pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a show sucks, just go, that's fine. You don't got to go online
Or
and get into fights with people at the
or
comments.
stop being, I don't know. Remember, you're not supposed to be like the character. Like, you're not supposed to be like Denny Crane. You're not supposed to be like anyone on Married
Right.
with Children. You're just
Yeah.
supposed to be a dude. And yeah, sometimes it's just too late to tell until it happens, and then it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. By that point, it's too late.
Oh, but some people actually pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah, I think everybody right now it's like the easiest time to watch anything because everything's so accessible. But yeah, just like with Living Single and Fresh Prince, sometimes these shows age better than others. At least for Fresh Prince's part, I find that most of his aged pretty well. There is some stuff that's just ancient and some ideas that don't work,
Well,
but for the most part, it's pretty good.
yeah, I mean, there was definitely gaslighting and people pretend to be something, and then
Mhm.
I think it just helped that it's like, okay, but at least they're even if they're not completely in on it, they're still going to have him have to apologize his way out of this and say, I
Right.
won't do that again. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I I can suffer your buffoonery if you at least piss up that hey, yeah,
Me
you're
and
doing something hurtful.
me and Chris also have a term for that when that happens. It's called "come to Jesus" moments.
Yes.
that's
You go to
exactly what it is.
Jesus.
We
Come
go to
to Jesus,
Jesus,
baby.
we
And
make
you got to
everything
talk to
right.
Dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Well, same thing in it was kind of the running trope during that time in Full House. I think there was an episode
Yes.
where DJ or Stephanie crashed a car through the kitchen.
Oh
and
my God.
Danny Tanner was like, "Well, let's sit down and talk about it." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? My
There's
parents would
no
have killed me."
There's yeah, there's
We were raised
suspend you for life. Yeah.
Right, right.
Oh, yeah, that's just it too. And we were joking about on the Brady Bunch how there's some risque stuff in there. Is like, oh, kids being kids? Question mark.
Right.
In the 60s. I don't know. I think a lot of people the stuff that's sometimes naughty on regular stuff isn't because no one was paying attention. I think it's just they did it in a way where it's like, yeah, well, you're gonna have a conversation on this, so as long as you're playful, no one's gonna get offended. Versus, oh my God, what did they just say? Yeah,
Right. Yeah, we're gonna write a letter to the network or whatever,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think that one of the heavier episodes of
just like
the Fresh
Urkel,
Prince
did
is.
I do that?
Yeah. Were you a fan of Family Matters?
Mm. Sorry.
Here and there, right?
Yeah, I'll just leave it there. Did you guys like it?
No, I thought it was. I mean, I watched a handful of episodes, but not really. No.
They're like, I didn't care for it.
Nah.
I watched some of it, but like I was at the right time where I'm like, I'm not really laughing, but I'm told this is a good show. What am I missing?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
Was there
got a
ever a
couple
show
memorable
where
parts, but
in your dumb kid mind you were like, I don't get it? and yet there's nothing else to watch. So I guess I'll watch one more.
I'll try to get it.
I'll try to get it.
I'll try to get it.
I'll try. No promises.
I was told to get it, so I'll try to get it.
It looked better on the ads.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Like you're told to watch something, it's so good. Like you gotta, and then you just don't get it.
That's one of those
like,
kind of light friends. The people who I don't think would like it really do like it. And I'm like, are you serious? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I thought people liked it because it was dumb. I didn't know it was because of
because it's actually decent.
Yeah.
And I like Julian Light in his own right. He's actually a very talented dude. It's just one of those. I think it was just
Sonic
the
the
way
Hedgehog.
he talks, and just is like, Jesus, this kind of like Big Bang got intolerable for me after a while. Like, is this how everyone thinks a nerd or a geek acts? I'm just like, stop it. I like you, Jim Parsons, but God damn it, stop it.
Did you enjoy Big Bang or just the first couple seasons?
It was one of those. If family had it on, I'd watch it with them. But then there was some other stuff where I'm like, okay, less of these guys, more Kaylee or Johnny putting, Sheldon in his place.
That show just went on way too long.
That's just it too. It's just, I think that's it. It was on every day, and then when TBS did reruns, I'm like, okay, I will watch something, but it's not going to be this. And it didn't help that I had people who I have to be a little more careful around. They don't want anything as grim. And I'm like, well, I don't really want anything playing it safe either. Can we find some in between? Because I'm not going to watch this with commercials. It's just, I mean, I do this with talk shows too, where I'm like, I like this actor, but that interview is just not igniting for me. It's just not really bringing me in. I better watch something else like Daily Show or something funny before I go to bed.
Yeah, or they're covering a topic that you've already watched another video covering that same topic.
Oh yeah,
like, that's also the worst. It's like, I kind of had enough. I don't want any more reactions to this trailer. I get it. You know what I mean?
And 500 YouTubers also reacting to the reactor. I'm like, well,
right?
Like, when do you stop? Like, when do you stop watching it? Like,
when do you start
like it, though.
And when do you end? And that's just it. I kind of with other franchises that have gone on. I'm like, okay, well, you got to wrap up, and don't say you're going to wrap up when you're going to come back 5 years later anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny too how what people will give us another chance and which ones people are just going to line up, even though they're like, I don't really like it, but my girlfriend does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's even tougher, like, not to get into a comedy thing, but like, it's like choosing your favorite comedian. Everybody's got their own favorite comedian.
Yes.
And can nobody tell you different, right? And it's even a more of a segmented thing, because what I find funny, you might think is not funny at all. And if I tell you to check out this comedian because he's the best thing since sliced bread, you'll watch it, but you'll have some crazy expectation because I've built it up in your head, right? So I usually just try to say, hey, look, check this out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But you might check. Man. You might like it. You specifically, knowing you, because you're my friend, you might like it. Yeah.
It's funny how you brought up
comedians are more subjective than music to me.
They have to just be playing a character. It can't just be them monologuing, only improving. But it's funny how you guys talked about some of these other production values. I was that way with Babylon 5. It's often ranked as a pretty good show, but other people are like, these production, it sucks. I'm like, I get it. It never was well ranked in terms of effects and everything, but it was because people dug the story and it went beyond the limitation. And that's the other funny thing too, is it's like you do see other shows where you're like, God, I wish they'd curse. And then there's other ones like they don't need to curse. They're already solid. There's so much rich development and voyeuristic camera angles and very just witty interplay between everybody. I can't.
Yeah, they don't need to spell it out for you.
There's other shows there's like I do legit love, but I have to skip the theme. The theme just is is what outdates it the most. Like,
right.
You can watch something nutty like, I don't know, Nash Bridges, and you're like, but don't watch that theme. You're gonna just be like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Stupid. Like, well, it kind of describes the show, but it also doesn't really do it justice. It's so 90s.
Yeah, some of that stuff doesn't age well at all.
I even asked when we actually did Mr. Rogers. It's funny you guys brought that up. I actually got pretty emotional in that one because it's like, see, this person's like a rare, just legit, comforting soul who's actually going to give you some ethics and
Yeah.
and stick to the course, be the best teacher you never had. And I was like, yeah, is this any educational stuff on any other platform besides HBO Max?
Right. Yeah, and it turns out Mr. Rogers is actually a decent human being. You know what I mean? So it's
Right?
always
Yeah.
it's one of
He's
those
still
like,
that
wow.
person when you turn off the camera instead of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Captain Kangaroo or Howdy Doody. You're like, oh boy, too much weed. Make sure the camera's off. And me and my friends are still actually trying to write some movies when we have some free time, and we're always like, yeah, we're gonna make sure we have some people filming behind the scenes stuff, and if anybody's acting inappropriate, we're gonna use that to dismiss them legally. It was like, I don't want to hear anyone making inappropriate jokes, any dicking around. We better.
Yeah, you never know what we're doing now that in 5-10 years it'll be like, yeah, we did that then because that's just the way it was. We just become
It's just the way it is.
everything swings back and forth, right? We've reached this level of where everything's offensive to everybody, and the pendulum will once again swing back the other way, where I think we'll have more of a sense of humor about things. And I think
Hopefully.
just seeing the world get its ass kicked right now, financially and everything else, it's sort of making us realize, like, hey, sometimes you got to laugh at yourself.
You gotta laugh at yourself. You also gotta remind them, hey, health first, then working.
Yeah.
And then don't say suck it up, but stick it out for a bit. If it's just 5 more months of boredom, you can do this.
Right. Yeah.
I would do this with friends in college where I was just like, really? You dropped that course? That dude's fucking easy. And they're like, yeah, but it's so boring. I'm like, I'll take 3 hours of boredom over I can't pass it because you only get an X amount of drops. So think about that. Now, when it comes to course where you got an incompetent professor who is totally cheating and not giving you stuff that's in the book, dicking around, and it's like, yeah,
right. That's the
or
one.
a course you didn't have to take, and it's now denting your record. Is like, well, you could have dropped it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Amazing what is like. Yeah, it's kind of like crying over spilled milk. Is like, pick a fight that's worth having instead of one where you're like, yeah, that's not even worth having a fight over. That's frankly pretty dumb. That was over in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think some people just want to be heard, and I completely understand that. But like I always say, like we welcome, like Ryan runs our YouTube channel, and sometimes we'll get comments in
You guys are doing a good job.
I tell Ryan, I go, don't delete anything. If anything, let's just respond. If it's respectful, I'm open to having a conversation. Somebody didn't like a review we did or something, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, we can discuss it. But as soon as there's names calling and things like that, we don't even acknowledge it. We're out of that,
Yeah, and this is it. And my sister's gotten upset with some of the TikTok shit going on lately, and I just have to remind her. I'm like, well, think about it. They technically just want to get the worst side of you, So those are the type of scumbags you're gonna, blackmail you.
Right. Yeah, this is how you responded.
Let me find where you were at your worst,
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a friend of the show, the podcast Bad Movies Rule, and they've noticed that half the time people are just responding to their YouTube clips but didn't watch the actual episode. It's like, well,
right,
you're just, and it's almost always the most generic stuff. And so they got really mad when they were doing some superhero stuff. I'm like, they're not even talking about our episodes. They're just talking about it because we put the name in that title. They're now thinking it's about that.
Right.
It's like kind of like if you're having a protest, make sure everyone got the memo and it wasn't a few rioters coming along with you.
Right. Yeah.
Who don't even
Ryan had a couple of videos where the people were fighting in the comments about, again, like you were saying, like superhero stuff. Ryan, they were having some debate about one of the characters.
It was like, how did we get here?
And me and him are just eating popcorn. Like, all right, well, that has nothing to do with
the
us.
bullshit.
This is what we wanted. I get in. Let's just
whatever it swings and a miss.
Remember we did like a Tony Hawk video that did pretty well.
Oh God.
We were just talking about like the next Tony. This was before the new one got announced. It was all rumors or whatever.
Oh.
And we were just whatever. I think some news had broke out. So I made the video. And then in the comments, there was like 100 comments, and everyone was just
Jesus.
kind of fighting over what remaster should be next. It's like no one's thinking about
Right.
anything. They're just
Yeah.
talking about what they want. And then all of a sudden, people are fighting about when the series fell off. And then all of a sudden, people are fighting over the best soundtracks. Then it just
Yeah.
kept going, and I'm like, wow.
Going and going. You're like, why are you here again?
Do you care about the news, or are you just here to like, to tell me what your favorite game was?
Beat around the bush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord knows. It's like I really don't know how we got here. It was kind of still coming out of our comfort zone, because I see a lot of people who want to analyze every single, sitcom, and it's like, yeah, but this can wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what's, I mean, I'm sure you guys have had it too, where you interview someone to be on the show, and they are like, "Oh, I don't have time to rewatch it." I'm like, you don't have to rewatch it. You just have to think real hard, like you're about to give an essay. Why does this rock?
Yeah, that's kind of what Ryan and I went through when we first started even thinking about the podcast. It's whatever we're going to talk about. Let's at least bring some opinions to this, because if we're just going to recap what was on the episodes, people can just go online and read it
They can
themselves.
just watch it.
Yeah, so we try to bring interesting like facts and trivia, and we joke around about some of the clothes that they were wearing, some of the set design and stuff like that.
You have to. I mean, and
yeah.
it's amazing how people think. There's ones who either do clickbait things, 5 reasons they broke up, and mix in with. It's like, we're not doing that. We're just saying just why this was a one of a kind kind of show, and you have to talk about what didn't outdate, but it doesn't necessarily make it inherently bad. You're just like, yeah, and this is this product of this time, and trigger warning with this topic here,
Right.
And I don't know it. There's plenty of other shows where it's like, yeah, I could never recap that episode by episode. This one, oh, I totally could. It's like, and this one is like, I would, but I do not have time for that.
Yeah, it was such a large undertaking. Like I was telling Ryan, like after like maybe 10, 15 episodes, we're like, well, we're locked in now. But yeah, we did eventually start the another show called The Cafe, and that's where we more do reactions to trailers.
Well, that's why I like you guys do have more than one show. You're your own unofficial network, but
yeah,
it is also kind of hard to tell people too. Is like I've had the same deal where it's like people who were available like 3 years ago are no longer available, and I'm like, it's not the same without your voice.
Yeah,
you watched more than me. You were my backup,
right?
Comrade and buddy in arms. But yeah, then there were others. It's like, hey, I know you want to talk about this. We're just not feeling it. We seem to get lost in the take, and so it is kind of a matter of also explaining, well, this can wait.
Yeah.
There is no rush. And that's why I gave it a disclaimer when we were talking, like, like that this will come out, sometime, summer, maybe late summer. And I see other people are like, oh, I need it now. I'm on a book tour. I'm like, well, I can't,
wow.
I don't have a production crew.
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking about earlier about just doing everything yourself. And I was like, no, that makes sense to me. But yeah, no, it's the same idea, right? Like when we first, what's the holdup exactly?
And then they complain, why do I sound like shit? I'm like, because you wanted it now.
It made me rush it. Like,
right.
I've had fun recutting some episodes, and then there's other ones I'm like, I can't believe I published that. I should have put more care into that. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. You go back, you're your own worst critic, right? I'll listen to something from 5 years ago that we did. I'm like, oh, I could have edited that a little bit tighter. Or I could have removed some of that
we
fuzz.
put very little time into. I'm like, are you serious? Wow.
Yeah,
we didn't even try on that one.
I can't stand going back and listening to myself. I sound like a different.
You sound good, but I know what you mean. We are our own worst critic, but we're also. I mean, this kind of even makes you wonder, like, if I don't know if Will watches much of Fresh Prince. Maybe Latifah watches some of Living Single because she gets along with everybody. It's funny which actors. It was always just kind of sacrilege. No one understood it whenever they heard so and so doesn't watch their movies. I'm like, well, yeah, they know how they sound like. They know it's good. They also just no one likes singing themselves in family albums. It's just we're weird that way. It's our own insecurities. It just happens.
Yeah. It's like even like sports people, they'll make a great sports play and they're like, I've never seen that shot again. And even in replays, it was just I kind of left it out on the ice or whatever it might be, right? But,
just left it there, baby.
Yeah.
right there in the skating ring.
Right.
Hey, it's been a delight, all, and this was a fun kind of just double, not a double feature, but a double review.
Double whammy.
Double whammy. I'll take it.
Yeah. No, thank you, Cam. It was good to reconnect. And I knew that this first conversation between all of us was probably going to go in a million different directions. But
Yeah, it was related. I mean, it is funny how what stuff stands out as like this is a highlight of that kind of format. And there have been times where I've had to slow down to people's like, okay, we're going to a whole separate tangent.
Right.
Whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Like as sitcoms, it's just funny how it's easy to get into the history of comedy and how that impacts everything from what's allowed on network versus how it reaffirms everyone's independence in life. And I think that's what both these shows do is like they are the kinds of friends you kind of want to hang out with versus can't stand this friend because all they do is complain about work and make my life more miserable or remind me of the terror in real life. It's interesting how we all have our breaking point, but we're even afraid to address that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, definitely.
You actually feel like some of these different guys where you want to hang together on the sofa and
yeah, like I always thought Uncle Phil was such a good dad. I'm like, that'd be a good dad for anybody. You know what I mean?
He's
just like
made a lot of top 10 dad lists and
right.
Latifah, I would hang out with. I'd be like, you're just awesome.
But not Tyra Banks though. Hey.
No.
Interesting. You know what? I'll rewatch that scene. Are you talking about which scene are you speaking about? The one where they're in the limo?
I don't think it was the limo, but there was one where she does a wacky kind of just argument with Will. And don't get me wrong, the episode's funny, the scene is funny, but you're seeing kind of the nuts come out of the bolts, kind of, so to speak. You're seeing the train come off the track a little bit where you're like, ooh, that's a little rough.
Oh, you're talking about the argument scene where they're both yelling at the same time.
Yep.
Yes. I thought they did a good job there, but I can also see why somebody might look at that.
Oh, no, the directors did great. He's like, have you guys act together and that'll be funny during kind of like if we're going to have a shit show, let's both go down at the same time and make it crazy. But you can also can tell like Will is, when I reanalyze it, I'm like, yeah, Will's a little way louder in the scene and he's not even trying. What's going on here?
Right. Yeah, I found with Tyra is that I think overall she did a good job because she was in there for a little bit there as working.
Don't get me wrong, we were all paying attention to her. Like most beautiful model of all time, making it for her own, and then it just kind of got into like, okay, well, they're putting her in these movies where they're giving her very dumb stuff to work with, and I don't know how much of that is her versus her.
Yeah, I always thought she would end up with Will, and they kind of tease it, but they never went down that route. They never went down that route.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like when he went on the date, it wasn't anything ever serious. Where I'm like, okay, there's no way he got the girl. He's so silly, and,
right? Yeah.
And
I always say this guy gets himself into trouble because he tries to be too much of a gentleman. Like I will escort you upstairs all the way to your hotel room, Mrs. So and so, just to make sure you get there safe. And it's like, and then you wander away, get yourself in trouble. You don't go to the hotel door, dude. Just drop her off at the bottom of wherever.
Yeah,
give her a ride there, but you don't have to take her. And I'm like, Will, you did this to yourself, buddy.
You're a danger to yourself, buddy. Don't do it. And it is funny, kind of. It's just like, if you know someone's going to do something naughty, all you need is just some other person to comment on it, and that's enough. It's like, okay, cool.
Right.
At least someone in this universe knows this is a bad idea. Instead of, what are you doing?
That's funny.
And it is just funny how some stuff, we cannot make time for it. We're like, I hate what this person does. It just takes up too much screen time.
Yeah.
And then there's others who's like, yeah, no, this is fine because it's gonna be worth sitting around for what ends up happening. It's just
like we'll get to a certain episode and it's like, well, what are they doing with this character? And I'm like, well, I guess they're just there for the paycheck because their side story makes no sense. You know what I mean? They'd give Tatiana Ali like a really small bit, or by the time they brought on Baby Nikki, I'm like, well, Baby Nikki was just there to hang out, because it didn't really add anything to the story, right? But you understand why they bring him in.
It was kind of, if any of it was just someone's bad idea, they just made it work. It's like, yeah, we'll give you something to do, even though you don't need to be here. It's just an excuse. I mean, it's kind of like when you think of the neighbors on Full House. Why are they here? It's a
Right.
very weird family to hang out with, but it's just they're just there because hey, you just need someone else to play off, and it's always funny how much of it ends up being organic versus so and so, is getting dental surgery today and can't be on set.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's ride around them and like, yeah, I'm the housekeeper. Who's way too attractive to be a housekeeper. Oh, I'm the best friend who clearly wants to cheat with the uncle. It's even funnier too what stuff it took us years to pick up on. I'm like, oh boy, I thought I was the only one who got that vibe. I thought it was just me being weird. It's like, no, everyone else got that vibe too.
Yeah. And some of the references, at the time when I watched the show went over my head. And then now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I understand what that means. I understand why he made a Menendez brothers reference with respect to killing Carlton. It's like, okay, I get it now. I understand why he did that.
That is
At
wild,
the time,
bro.
I'm like, all right, I don't know what Menendez is, but sounds cool,
It sounds cool.
No, I remember the Menendez. They were all over TV. I was about 10 when those guys were they were on TV for the murders and everything else. But
oh man, this is like, are you serious right now?
yeah.
It's also funny when they used any sitcom uses real life events to just reflect what character is immoral and just
Yeah.
not thinking, like, to remind everybody that the Always Sunny guys are trash. They had some of them go to a rally not realizing it's a January 6th get together. So it's just funny how it's like you gotta just sometimes do it. And I don't see anyone say, oh, they got too political. It's like, nope, everyone got it. It's funny how I also do have to wonder half the time is like when someone says, oh, you got too political, it's like, is it because you disagreed?
Right.
Is it 'cause
Yeah, or is it too on the
got
nose?
Yeah, is it too soon to be talking about 9/11? Is it too much to be talking about celebrities slapping each other at award shows? Sorry, Will.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. And generally you never really will know. It's just kind of like uh, a lot of stuff I just have to just gloss on by. There's been plenty of other. I mean, Murphy Brown came back, and even though it was pretty political, I just didn't really laugh. It's just the stuff was very rushed. But then there was some other stuff which I thought was very funny, but no one saw. So I'm like, I mean, we mentioned Will and Grace. Sean Hayes had a wacky sitcom. I thought that was very amusing. Andy Richter had a sitcom for 2 years too. I was like, I kind of miss the days when everybody kind of got a sitcom. It's like, even if no one saw it, like Christina Applegate did plenty of other funny stuff, and Gina Davis had one for 1 year. I don't know if anyone saw that. So it's just like, I just kind of like how any football player could get a movie. I was never really surprised that so-and-so.
Yeah, the football players that made movies is the long list of those too. Christina Applegate was in stuff too after Friends, right? She was in movies as well.
Yep. Yeah. After Remember Children, she had a sitcom called Jessie. She had all kinds of stuff. But it is funny, just how, I don't know. I think a lot of people like to cling to the first thing they see and act like that's all I know you for. I'm like, oh no, hold on.
Right, hold on. There's more. Yeah. Like when Michael Keaton's been he's done good work his whole life, and so when I hear people say the comeback of Michael Keaton, I always think what, he's never gone anywhere. He's never gone anywhere. He hasn't always done things as as spotlight-ish as like Batman, but
no,
well, no pun intended. He also was in Spotlight, but no, he wasn't. What am I talking about? He was in. Oh yeah, he was. He was in Founder, and he was in Birdman. I think the same year.
Like, so that's just it. It's just so funny. Everyone acts like you go away and like you never stop working.
He was in the McDonald's movie. Yeah, but it's the same thing with some of these people that have been on the Fresh Prince show and Living Single. Like we said, it's a cameo appearance, but then you look and it's like that was their bread and butter throughout like the 90s. It was normal to make the rounds through some of these TV shows.
Even looking at the ones who always were TV stars and they're like, that didn't work out. I'm not being a movie guy anytime soon. I find it even funnier which ones everyone couldn't stand, and they tried out movies and it went awry. Some of the Friends guys did that. David Caruso did that. And you're just like, yeah, but some of it was just to say you could, and others just did it just because they wanted something new, but they weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of sad that you have to be kind of a character actor to kind of blend in with everything, and because the spotlight's less on you, and you're less likely to be recognized at a McDonald's or Walmart. It's just
right. Yeah.
And it is funny how I have had friends who, like, once Fresh Prince ended, they didn't keep up with Will Smith. I'm like, really? You thought his ego was too much back then? Interesting. Okay.
Right.
There's a lot of good Will Smith performances to pass up on. And yeah, he is kind of one of those. He's had his scandals, and I just don't care. I just am kind of like, I like the persona so much. He did so much good before. I'm just kind of like, whatever. Just promote.
Yeah, with him, I'm able to separate it. It's not not too bad.
But I see others are like, I never liked him, but now I have an excuse. I'm like, interesting.
I did go through something with that. Like,
right.
We all do. There's plenty of actors. I'm like, you're not a good actor, and then I'm like, well, you're a really good drama guy. I just thought you were on that really terrible on that one sitcom. It was probably just the writing,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
With the slap specifically, I mean, like,
oh yeah.
I don't think it was so much what he did, but I was sick of hearing everyone cover it that I was like, Chris, I need to take a break from Fresh Prince.
Right.
I can't hear this guy or see this guy for a
We did do a tribute to him, and it could not have been more poorly timed. Like, it came out 5 months after that.
Awesome.
And I'm like,
that's awesome.
And I had to just put a disclaimer, like, hey, we kind of like him.
Right. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. He was like persona non grata for
I think, and some other fan accounts.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, did everybody just give up? I don't know. It is amazing just what, I don't know. I think everybody has to just kind of have a timeout, and it's hard. Like you said, it's hard to gather it on a celebrity. You don't really know what your breaking point is.
Yeah.
But hey, you guys were awesome because, like, you play off each other already as it is, and again, you figured out Instagram pretty well.
Thanks. We're still trying to figure out the other 95% of it, but yeah, Ryan's doing a good job with the YouTube. But yeah, it's a hobby that we love to do, and yeah, it's all grassroots. We do everything ourselves, and that's sort of the way it is. But the nice thing about it is we get to keep like 100% creative control over everything, which is kind of nice. The episodes, Ryan edits some of them, I edit some of them, so we kind of have an ear for what we'd like the show to sound like. So in that respect, there's a synergy.
We had some wins last year where we joined 2 different networks, and one of them was an absolute waste of time, where basically the host of the network bailed on us. Won't say.
Oh my gosh! They said welcome, and then they said take over,
and then they fucked off. And the other one welcomed us with open arms and had a pretty simple rule. Unfiltered Studios, we were members of, and they're just like, just don't talk trash about other podcasts. I'm like, that's pretty simple. That's pretty easy rule.
Yeah, that should be something you shouldn't do anyway. So
right,
that's good.
It's a small world in Podcastville. Is like,
yeah.
Given how there was a bunch of podcasts that review other podcasts and we're talking trash, I'm like, yeah, I do not want to be part of that.
I feel like if somebody's going to do a podcast reviewing your podcast, then at the least you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Like somebody.
Thanks for the attention, but I just hate all the trolls
Exactly.
invited.
Yeah, right.
But hey, whatever.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Imagine wasting your time doing that. That's great.
I mean, some of them are funny, like when they're making fun of some of the bigger podcasts. Like there's all kinds of channels that make fun of like the Joe Rogan podcast, and
that one makes sense. But
those are easy targets, though. You know?
Right,
well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Just be
Yeah.
creative. If it's too mean and crass, and like, okay, this is just mean spirited, and we're attacking people for no reason.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win. On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates, Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Breakfast time. Listen at breakfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up